Friends back and gonna be in trouble.
Hey, nah.
Hey, my boyfriend's back. Still no audio. Come on, man.
I'm working on it. Shut the fuck up.
It's back and gonna be in trouble. Hey,
They can hear you.
Hey, my boyfriend's back.
That's all right.
Can I go to the back to the show now? You done dancing?
Oh, yeah, I was just giving a commercial.
Yeah. Okay, so
All right, cool.
what? Now we're back. So what I was saying, everything's fine on this end. Everything, Streamlabs is working. Or on my end, the computer's working. We're like at 3%. We're using up nothing. No heat. No nothing. No slowdown. This is a Streamlabs problem. I'm gonna have to bump up to OBS and learn that.
So,
What?
to bring it back around, we were talking about mine.
Oh yeah,
That's what
because
everybody said.
the one story I saved back, you fucking tell.
To one person.
Yeah, but I'm gonna like talk a little bit about it too. Like, hey, I got something interesting to tell you. And he's looking, going, I already know.
He'll still find it interesting. I promise you. I just had to give him background as to why you and I have this. I don't know.
You guys wonder why I drink.
Years long, friendship.
I'm sloppy porn. I don't even give a shit.
That's all right.
All right, so you guys want to drink and carry this on? Keep going. Should we keep going? If you want to, I don't have a way to see what's going on right now. You got to raise a glass. You guys got to raise a glass, and someone's got to tell me you're raising a glass because I didn't turn on anything to even go look. So I have no fucking clue to what we're doing here. Is anybody doing anything?
Yes.
I didn't
raising a glass.
I didn't even turn on monetization. So you guys are all, everyone who's tuning in, you're getting this for free. All right.
There are 805s in the fridge inside too.
All right. Pin the donation link. No, we're not. Is that what you just said?
I can't get to it. So,
Okay.
All right. Fuck it.
That's fine.
No, someone has to go get Iceman an 805. Fucking prima donna ass.
I was telling him when he's out of his cores that there's 805 in the fridge that he'll enjoy.
Why, did you bring your own little IPA things you go do?
Mary got me beer.
Oh, fuck, man.
Hey, an update on Addie's graduation. All the graduates are walking in right now to the field.
Okay, so we're getting close on that. All right.
It's just starting.
Let me go in.
Dun, 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 dun. That's the music they're playing.
The pomp and circumstance.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the worst tune ever. Someone needs to.
Graduation, they're walking in. I could see them all.
Yeah. Good.
All
Hang
the
on.
pretty.
I'm almost there. Got this. Okay, now let me go over here and I will open up because you guys are making a big fucking deal about it. Save. Once it saves, okay, now I can open up this and then I can go to popping out the chat and then I can go to where Trippy Pineapple's pinning shit. And there we go, community. 3 dots. And pop out chat. And looking for the link, Trippy Pineapple. No link from Trippy Pineapple. There it is right there. Okay, and pinned. Okay, now will everyone leave me the fuck alone? Good. Checking our numbers.
Are we good?
7%. We're not. It used to be 68% was when we had a problem. We're at 7%. This is not my problem. I'm bowing out of responsibility for this. Okay.
Really quick, Shy gave $5 before the stream went down and says, oh my God, my grandma used to run with the Hells Angels in SoCal. I'll have to ask my mom if she knew your dad.
What chapter? That's you got to say what chapter,
Tell
Shy.
him, Shy.
You got to say his Newhall Saugus chapter. That's the only one where they'd know him. I don't think they know him anywhere else.
Okay.
All right. So let's get the record straight. I got a story. Mm-hmm. You tell the story. I go to tell the story. And Justin Shy already knows the story. You've now killed half the program because we have nothing to talk about now.
You have plenty to talk about.
Do I?
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Justin will sit there entertained and interested the whole time.
Okay, you got to at least lie to me and at least look like this is, oh my God, that's amazing. Just have that look. When I speak, you got to go, oh shit, that's great news. That's good stuff. Then I'll be okay.
I'm sure it's going to be told better out of your mouth because it's coming from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
He just called me a horse's ass?
That's right.
I thought he did.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll drink, you drink, we all drink, I drink. And let's take a drink right now. Raise a glass if you got one. Don't make me drink alone. You know I will. I've drank alone before. I'll probably have to drink alone again. I don't want to, but I do have friends here, so come on.
All right, everyone. I'm still watching Addie's graduation live stream on my phone.
So
we will break away for Addie's speech.
Yeah.
So people know.
So we will. So
So this is the moment
yeah,
that you're telling the story.
I'm trying to.
You've been holding out
For a while.
for for a long time.
I have been.
Like 4 years.
He needs to start.
It's been a
talking about
bit.
it again.
And now you want to tease it?
No, I'm not telling the whole story tonight. No, we ain't doing. No, fuck no.
Oh, thank God.
We'd be here for a long time.
Be here a long time.
Plus, you know what? Here's the worst
There's not
part.
enough alcohol in the house to get
No
through that.
shit.
There is not. And here's the problem, is that if I decided to tell the entire story tonight,
Yeah.
I'd have this dickless wonder over here going, that's not how that happened. I'll recite something from history, and he'll go, no, that wasn't even the name of the ship.
Yeah.
And the captain's name was this, and they left in 1779. And I mean, you'd have to hear the whole fucking thing. And when you're done, I go, does it matter? Did it really matter to the stories? Well, for accuracy's sake. And you got a sidebar with Iceman with his memory, his eidetic memory, that shit, and you got to go deep. You know, you can't wait. You're not even done with the side story that he will inflict upon you until he tells you what color the rag was the guy was swabbing the deck with, and then why they use that color as opposed to the other colors for that season.
He's very detail oriented.
That's right.
Oh, it's just it's obnoxious beyond words.
Yeah.
I can't you seriously. If you ever sit around a campfire and listen to one of his stories. We joke around by how many people raise for one more drink, please. Can I get another? As it goes, just look at his fucking joke. He tells the Seamus joke. He ruins it.
What?
You make the
How
Seamus joke.
fucking dare you? That's the.
He makes the Seamus joke.
That's the greatest
40
joke. It needs to be that long
45 minutes
for the listener of that joke to appreciate all the nuance and all the heft, the gravity of the story being told. It's not a joke; it's a story to share. That
people
is funny.
People fall asleep
That's fine.
waiting for you to get to the punchline.
I mean, sometimes the retards have got to fall away. That's all right.
Wow. And he'll. I don't know if have you heard a Seamus joke yet?
No. I don't think so.
No, you haven't.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell it.
Just to
here.
be clear,
I only know the long version.
You're not hearing it tonight, but just so we're on the same page, you are not at the same level of friendship I am until you've heard that joke from him. I'm sorry. That's just the way it goes. There's a lot of people. Shut the fuck up, Donny. Has heard the story. Has heard the joke. There's certain people have heard the joke. Gen X mom, I heard the joke. So she's in the club. You're still a step down, but now you got to bug him about that one day, and he's got to go through it. But be prepared. Get into a comfortable chair. Get a neck pillow for yourself. Sunglasses.
Are you holding me to a different standard?
I
here,
have more
buddy?
respect for you than I do these
Thanks a
people.
lot.
So
That sounds about right. Yeah, I mean, I'd go along with that. Sounds about
I
right.
have to interrupt for something.
What?
The Sun Valley Fox has a personal message to Iceman.
yeah.
He says, I salute the Iceman. He has the same thing you're drinking right now.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, shared
sent
about
me
it.
a picture.
Yeah.
He said, it's been a while. I enjoyed
It
our
has.
conversation at the Gen X barbecue a while back. Good
Yeah.
seeing you and hope all is well.
Well, I do intend to fly to come visit once everything's all moved and relocated. They're pretty reasonably priced flights,
Yeah.
So I
Can
should be
you
able to
make a
come visit.
note real quick, Gen X mom, the queen? We need to have these exact little girl drinks for the Sun Valley Fox and for Iceman. Make sure that we have a little kids table set up with little kid drinks like these.
Okay.
The whiskey can be at the grown-ups table. And
Says the guy that chases with Coke when he has his fucking
He
Dr.
hasn't
Pepper.
lately.
you see me have a Coke here?
I suppose not, but 10
No
years
training
ago,
wheels.
10 years ago you did.
Not anymore.
Well,
not
10 years
anymore.
ago I was into all sorts of weird shit, but I have shedded my heathen ways.
All right.
Coca-Cola is a heathen way. So back to the story at hand, sir.
Yeah.
Back to the story at hand. The Lost Padres mine has been a long thing in with Wild Bill, and there was some interest in it. I guess this was 10 years ago now or whatever it was. There was interest in the television. Hollywood sector was pursuing it, and if you get people like, these reality shows, like what's that one back east that's the big one that's been on for 20 years now?
The one about the Oak Island. Oak Island, yeah.
Oak Island that turned out to be a big one. So they look for shows like that. They look for things that they can do. Los
Bering
Padres,
Sea Gold.
yeah,
Yeah.
And so the Los Padres would be one of those type of shows. Completely would be one. There's so much to it. In fact, it's California's last secret. I don't think there's another one out there that's undiscovered. That's the last one. The last California's last unfound secret. So these people go out and they look around. Glenn Beck had a team. They were doing like 6 different shows, and they gave 6 different people like, okay, each of you gets $100,000. This teams go write a preliminary pilot, go write a script, do your homework, do your research, present all 6. One of them we're gonna turn into a show or do something with. So one of those people decided they were going to go do the Lost Padres mine. Jay Leno had a crew of people going out and doing some stuff. And inevitably, no matter what, if you are doing some serious research on the Lost Padres mine, if you start digging into past the Wikipedia page and you do the homework, my name will eventually come up. And you will arrive at, we need to go talk to this guy. You got to come. We got to get here. This is the place to be, because they would end up with Bill, but Bill's dead. Then they go, okay, we got it all, and it happens every time. So, and I never give interviews. In fact, I can't tell you how many people I've thrown out of my fucking shop. I said, I don't want to talk to you. Get the fuck out. Well, you know the story. I do. You know, and I'm not talking about it. I don't know what made me say yes to this one crew, but I remember. Were you down at the?
Oh no, it was the hot producer.
Oh, the hot producer.
Yeah.
I forgot about her. Yeah.
She was hot.
Yeah, and she was out of town.
What
She was
are you gonna do?
gone.
He's not here.
So,
Yeah, she was gone.
I don't remember her name, but
I don't either.
She was a hottie.
She was hot. And then
And why do you think she has that job?
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
she has influence.
yeah. So I remember, were you at the shop or did I call you or
He
something?
called me.
And I'm like, hey, you want to go by the house? There's a television crew coming over. They're going to film and audio and lights and mic me up. And you're like, what for? And I told them, well, Lost Padres mine.
Yeah.
So you did a quick study on it.
Yeah.
You had 3
yeah.
hours or something.
Pretty much.
So he just reads all about the Lost, everything in history he can. Of course, photographic, identic memory. He gets it. And then he shows up at my house and comes kicking in the door going,
What the hell?
yeah, what does this have to do with you? I get the mine, but why are people coming here? And I'm like, yeah, it's a loosely passed down story and some stuff. And he had one question. He's like, well, do you know where it is? I said, well, yeah, that's why they're coming to ask me. And so, God, I was drinking. And Ice was not. Ice was trying to stay sober because he's like, you're going to fuck this up. You're going to give away the whole thing. Yeah. You're going to tell people shit. And the more I drink, the looser I was getting with what I was talking about. And you were sitting there. You were there through the whole production.
And there was one of the members of the crew was just happy to have that Jack Daniels bottle. Oh, let me top that up for you.
Yeah.
You know?
And so I'm sitting sitting on the couch and still in my work uniform. And I remember he's like, don't sign anything. Don't sign any paperwork. Don't give them permission, man. You don't want to fuck this up. And I can take a lot of Jack Daniels and be fucked up and still shoot straight. And I remember getting to what was it? Was it about 7 hours we went through this thing?
It was long, dude.
Yeah. It was about a 7-hour interview.
Yeah.
They got a lot of footage.
Yeah, they got a lot.
They had a lot of questions. They had done a lot of research on the Lost Padres mine before they got to me. And they had a lot of questions. And they said they knew that everybody who had ever been serious about the mine or the reported had died or had some injury.
Didn't you call the producer Sweetness?
I did.
It was Sweetness.
Wow.
Yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah.
That's right.
I
got so drunk I just started calling her Sweetness.
Yeah.
That's a very sexist way to be, but yeah, you know, there was that.
All right. And, sorry to interrupt.
Well, remember, there was one girl sitting beside me the whole time.
She wasn't as pretty.
No, she was
They had
not.
2 girls.
But they had 2. They had the one and then the one sitting here.
Yeah.
And
They really wanted your story.
Yeah.
they wanted my story. All right. I was going to give them a private interview, if you know what I mean. So they knew some stuff that I didn't think anybody, if you're serious researchers, say, well, you know, everybody has died. Yeah. Parachuting accident. I mean, all the stuff that goes along.
So the guy that kept filling up your glass, he was a member of a family that I believe runs one of the rafting companies out of Kern River. Right? Or
that sounds right. Yeah.
I think that was so his family was interested in the story. And so several of the members of the crew had foreknowledge of the thing.
Sure.
It wasn't like they all just like picked it out of a history book and said, hey,
they
let's
had
investigate
done,
this.
they knew a lot.
They were all familiar with
what. They were deep.
Yeah.
They got themselves a team to win their competition.
They all had input.
They all had stuff. Yeah. And that's where we met Jimmy.
Jimmy, yeah.
We don't call him Jimmy. What the fuck was his name?
Jimmy.
No, it wasn't. It was not Jimmy. It was. Oh, we called him LP Jimmy.
Yeah.
Called him LP Jimmy.
Yeah.
People are a little confused by the story. What's going on? They're saying.
Oh shit.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
There is a mine called the Lost Padres mine that's hidden in the state of California. Everybody thinks it knows where it is, but nobody does. But I do because I've been there. And television people wanted to do series on like Oak Island. The Mystery of Oak Island became a big series, and other things become big series on these reality shows. They wanted to do one on the Lost Padres mine, and eventually, if you start doing homework on the Lost Padres mine, you end up with my name every time. Every time you say, go investigate the Lost Padres mine, let's figure out where it is, let's find out who's still alive on this planet that knows about the Lost Padres mine. If you dig deep enough, you're going to get to my name and you're going to come knock on my door, which is what they did. Then they brought a camera crew, and for 7 hours, Iceman was there with me, and we did this in my living room with a chick I nicknamed Sweetness because my wife was out of town. Are you caught up now? Good. Glad you're coming along. Now, so there we are.
Yeah.
And they knew that. They said, "Did you ever have a death or an injury?" And I said, they knew to ask that because everybody who's gone there and you're not supposed to go there has had something bad happen.
There's a curse.
Yeah, there's a curse. And I'm like, yeah, I had a fucking rock as big as a Volkswagen Bug fall on me. I just got lucky that it landed on my leg and I was in super soft mud and it just squished me down and rolled over. And I was like, I didn't even get hurt. I was like, oh shit, I'm broken. And I wasn't, not even a little bit.
Question.
Yeah.
What's the significance of the mine itself? Spanish gold hid inside?
Yeah.
Rare earth minerals?
Okay, the historical background on that was the Lost Padres mine is not just a mine; it was a series of mines, and it was it was Spanish gold. It was the highest producing mine of all the Spanish gold mines ever. I mean, it like had triple, quadruple what every other mine in all up and down the coast of California was putting out. And this is where I'll start getting those facts wrong, and Iceman will start stepping on my dick.
Yeah.
But when Mexico went for their revolution in 18...
It was prior to the revolution. It was an Indian war. Is what they collapsed the mine for.
No, they didn't. They collapsed it so the Spanish wouldn't get the gold.
They collapsed the Indian war was break. They were using Indian labor,
right? The Chumash,
the Chumash,
right?
Up in the where it's at,
and, the Chumash where GPS coordinates.
So there were warring tribes. There was the Tehachapi and the Mojave Indians,
right?
Who did not get along with the Chumash. The Chumash were groovy with the white man, and they were taking on the Catholic friars that were coming to evangelize and all that kind of stuff. And so there was a little supposed Indian war was happening because the Mojave and the Tehachapi wanted to kick the Chumash out of the territory where the white men
were. And remember,
were.
the Spanish, there was no Mexico. This is all Spanish stuff. This is Spanish.
This is
Spanish Mexico.
Spain, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, before the nation of Mexico existed.
Right, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, story time with Iceman.
So it was the Indian War that was happening that caused them to panic, collapse a mine. We got to get the hell out of here because we can't keep up with 10,000 red men coming up and
it's not even close to how it happened. He's got this so far off.
This is what Takoya says.
Takoya said that. I've read all the papers.
That's Takoya's information. That's Takoya's information.
Was he drinking?
I'm just saying.
Did he have that Indian firewater like I got going on?
That's Takoya's information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Takoya's.
And remember Sam Bishop. Sam Bishop had to go rally the troops in order to like kind of when. All right. So Takoya was well after the Los Padres mine was collapsed.
Way after.
But on his deathbed, he wanted to be able to pass on the legend.
Right. Yeah.
So it didn't go to the grave with him because he had visions, because he had these spiritual experiences to where he knew that if he had died, he felt that if he had died with the legend of the mine being unspoken and unshared for future generations,
right,
that it was going to bring a curse upon the on the Native American people, on the Chumash,
right,
and that.
So he's going to unburden himself and save everybody.
He's going to unburden himself of the history and save everybody. But he remembered, he grew up hearing about the gray men with the friars and their gray habits that would come and educate them and teach them how to drill rock and how to...
Okay, this isn't how any of this shit happened.
I'm sorry. This
Not even a little bit.
I remember this.
You know, I could just make one phone call and we could find out.
Who are you going to call, Jimmy?
No.
Who's that?
I'll call the Sun Valley Fox. He was there. Oh. Clearly old
I'm
enough
sorry,
to be.
I'm sorry the details are boring. Anyway.
Jeremy Underhill for $5 says, late Gen Xers, pay attention. History lesson right here. Grab a bottle, sit down.
Yeah, no shit. For sure. So the gig was that it was when Mexico was having the Civil War trying to become Mexico, and the Spanish had to pull troops away from all of their gold caves. Like, shit, quit digging for gold and come fight.
No.
That was why they pulled them out of there. I don't know what this fucking Indian war shit is.
I don't know what this bullshit is with this with the Mexican Revolution.
It's my show, so my story's going to be right, and yours is going to be wrong.
Yours sounds more fun, I guess.
I don't give a shit about the truth right now. We give a shit about everyone believing me and not you. That's what's important.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Polo Rob Prospecting says, a lot of those mines were shut down during World War II and never reopened due to the low price of gold.
That's true.
There is still a lot of gold left in there if you can make a profit getting it out.
Well, sure. Yeah.
It's very true.
Hey, thanks for skipping ahead 100 years, but we're busy.
It was interesting. I'm glad for that comment.
Oh, well, then just let's anything interesting to Iceman, let's please interrupt the program for it. It's important. So
they're inputting their opinion.
Hey, man.
Gosh.
I almost had a Lebowski one there, but I couldn't. I almost couldn't pull it out.
Quite a man right
Bite
there.
your tongue.
So the Mexicans are trying to be Mexico. Spanish are trying to hang on to Mexico. And they're like, okay, quit mining for gold. Bring all the troops. Like, well, but we're making money. So we'll go back and make the money later. Bring all the fucking troops down right now. We need to win this fucking war. Most of them, they just walked away from the stuff. But they're like, hey, if this doesn't work out, we can't let this fall back into Mexico's hands or anybody's hands.
Yep.
So the story goes that in the Los Padres mines, they pushed all the Indians that were working on the mine into the mine.
Which is it's an unfounded claim.
Unfounded claim. Yeah. But that's something those assholes would have done. They weren't very nice to the Indians.
They weren't kind people.
No, they were not kind. Put them all in there, blew up the mine, and there's like 4 people that knew where it was. And as those 4 people are walking out, the one guy killed the other 3. Now there's one guy that knows, and end of story. Now the mine is protected forever. And there's lots of clues on where this is. So that's how we get to. I don't even remember why we're getting to this point now. You fucked me all up with your story. There was a reason that I was telling about this.
Yeah,
what was it? Is it your story? Is it So anyway, they're asking about the TV people. They're interviewing me, and they're asking about the mine, and they have this there, and they knew to ask questions and wait to see if I knew the answer, which I did.
Yep.
And so now, by halfway through, 3 hours in, they're all calling people, going, "This is the guy. He's got all the answers, all the stuff. He knows stuff that we don't know." And so, skipping over that whole interview, so LP Jimmy and stuff we were talking. So, towards the end, I'm hammered. Mm-hmm. I'm really hammered, like the shows you guys used to watch 4 years ago. Hammered. Where Mrs. Ford would call me and go, get off the air. You're about to say some shit, hang up. And so that girl, Sweetness, she gets real close. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
She leans in. She's like, "Hey."
And she was trying to get you to sign the documents.
Yeah. She goes, "Do you know where it is?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, I do." She goes, "Would you tell just me?" That's what she said.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's hot air in my ear and everything,
Oh, breathy and sultry.
Her top's unbuttoned as far as it can go.
Yep.
Yeah, my Johnson's getting squirrely right now. I can't, and she goes, "Just tell me." And I go, "Just you?" Just tell me. That's what she said. "Just tell me, nobody else." I said, "Just you." Hey, cameras are rolling, mics are on.
Right.
Lights are getting hotter. And Gen X mom.
Shai says, as a resident of Native American, I will remind you of the curse penalty for revealing the location of the mine. Just saying.
Well.
No, so we just stop right here?
Well, don't tell anybody where it's at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's for us to know and no one to find out.
So she leans in and she's giving me this. I said, "Okay, I'll tell you." Like, the room falls silent, and Ice is over there. "You dumb motherfucker. Don't fall for this. This is a piece of ass that you're never going to get anyway. Don't do it." And I said, "Okay." I said, "I'll tell you. You want to know where the mine is?" She goes, "I do." I said, "You going to tell anybody?" She goes, "No." I said, "All right, lean in." Now I was giving her the hot ear, laying in and breathing heavy. And she slipped my hand around here, and I said, she goes, "Where is it?" And I leaned in and said,
It's true. This is how it went.
it's in the mountains. And everybody just dropped their shit. And Ice was doing that. He's like, yeah, that's my boy.
That's how it went.
That's how it went, just like that. And they thought I was so drunk that I was giving it up. And I tried to tell you, I can be that drunk and I still got my faculties. I'm all right.
Yeah.
And I said it's in the mountains. And there's been a couple of instances since then where we've had some poignant moments about the mine and stuff. But there was I've still never, I tried to send him back there with a map.
Yeah.
Not to actually, like, it's right here because it's a collapsed mine.
Yeah.
Although I do know where the collapse is. But I just sent him back to the canyon, walk around, see all the cool shit. He got lost.
I got lost. Wait a minute.
You got lost.
10 minutes before I got lost, you sprained an ankle and had to bitch your ass home. Okay, so don't make me look like the biggest loser ever.
You couldn't follow a map. You know, the first time I found it,
dude,
Wild Bill drew it on a cocktail napkin, and I found it.
When I got to the fork in the road, it was brush up for 30 feet. The vegetation was so heavy, so
everybody
thick,
gets stuck there.
It looked like a rock wall with brush in front of it. I had no idea it was a path.
No, it's a true Narnia wardrobe moment. You got to push straight through.
I had no idea.
Where it looks like there's nothing there, and it opens up to a canyon on the other side.
And to even have gotten to that point, there were plenty of times where I was on my hands and knees with a dog.
Yeah.
Riley. Riley guiding me the way through. She'd go through the thicket. And I'd just chase after her motions.
And everybody gets lost, especially right there. Some people get lost sooner.
It was gnarly.
But if you make it to that point, guaranteed you go down the wrong every time.
Yeah, it was gnarly.
And there's an Indian burial ground up there.
Mm-hmm.
We actually, so weird. Wild Bill and his friend Big Jim, they dug out what we call Sandstone Cave. They dug it out. Sandstone and dirt to clear a nice soft area they can get in. They put a little potbelly stove in there. There's a little red radio flyer wagon. They use this miles back in. And they, in this area, they had found when they were digging out, like it kept collapsing, like this one. I want to say
hey, breaking news. Addie's speech is going.
Let's watch. Breaking to Addie's speech. Stand by.
Tell me when you have it.
I have it.
Got it?
We received but a piece of paper. And what is it good for? About 5 days a week, 5,760 hours over 4 years alone, all just to say that you did it. But how much time has been contributed to learning something you love?
No sound.
How many of those hours did you spend laughing in your favorite class with your friends?
Put it to your mic.
Every moment spent on making it to today has been invested in making the next engineers, doctors, teachers, lawyers, and overall role models.
I'm trying to.
Whether you spent these past 4 years in FFA, ASU, Listos, Pride Club, orchestra, wrestling, or even simply trying to get by, you have been surrounded by those who have been hoping for your success. I believe that our time here has only set the first brick on our path to choosing our future. So you should choose to live life the way you've always dreamed of living it. Choose to go for that degree even if others say that it's too hard or you can't handle it. Or even choose to live life outside of academics and pursuing your dreams and your true happiness that you may have. The sky is the expectation, but the limit isn't hit until you've achieved that weightless success, the kind that you've always dreamed of and gravity cannot hold you down from. It is time to rise and use responsibility, integrity, service, and excellence to move forward. Though you may not find yourself cheering for a football team or competing in talent shows anymore, that only means we're hitting the next chapter our teachers have been preparing us for. In FFA, we have a saying that when we retire, we hang up our blue jackets for the next team to take over. Well, I encourage each and every one of you to go out and celebrate tonight and hang up our maroon caps and gowns, for our time as the new future had just begun. It is now us who become the example for our next class to follow. And standing amongst each of you, I realize that confidence is an understatement for what I can feel we can all achieve. Those dreams that we've had as children are now closer than many of us may realize. Don't allow your fears or fallbacks to anchor your ability to thrive in this new realm of possibilities. We are the leaders of tomorrow, and our time here will soon become the backdrop of our glowing views of success. So take a look around and give thanks to those who helped you get here, even if it was just yourself. For me, I'd like to thank my friends, my teachers, my family, and FFA. Shout out Mr. Bullard for making me a state speaker, for they're the reason why I'm here today. So cheers to the next 4 years of college and the next 10 years in debt. Congratulations, class of 2025.
That was pretty good. Even though we couldn't see it, we can only see her, but...
It's okay.
And look, we lost our guys.
I know. It's
They went to
okay.
piss on my rug.
That's okay. I'm all like,
I know you're all emotional now.
I am.
Sorry that didn't work out. I've never done a live before. It wouldn't. I went to the other screen and clicked on it, you guys.
Everybody raise a glass to Addie. That was one incredible speech.
That was a good speech.
That was an amazing speech. I'm glad everybody got to hear it. I'm
Yep.
so happy. I'm sorry we couldn't get the live stream.
But the picture of her was up. I got that.
I think that was her. I'm not sure, but I am so happy that you guys got to hear it. She was really excited about it.
Yeah, that you could definitely tell that was her voice for sure. That was great.
Oh, yeah, it was great. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
So, how long is it going to take these two drunk guys to take a piss and get back in here?
I don't know.
We're going to be here a long time with the story on pause because of this mess.
Well, we had to interrupt for Addie. I mean,
They should have gone at the beginning
I can
then.
read some sheets while we're at it.
Read the sheets. Let's go.
Okay. Stand by, citizen. Let me go to the top.
Standing
Shy
by.
is a member for 8 months tonight on YouTube. Jeremy B, $30. A small gift to Addie for graduation.
Thank you for that.
Nana A is celebrating 31 months, says, congratulations, Addie. Christopher Sevick says, let's do a poll on who has the better beard in studio. All in favor? That's what we're going with.
Yeah, we already know who's going to win that. It's me.
So Montana Mama wants to know, Iceman said, do you get the joy of putting toilet paper on streets to help patch up cracks and such? My brother-in-law did that. That's what he wants to know.
That's about his job. Yeah, that's about his job speed.
Graham Gordon is celebrating 25 months on YouTube. Sean for Notes is celebrating 23 months. There's another question for Iceman. We'll wait. Mike Perkins, $4.99 for Gen X Mom dancing when I was dancing and singing and the thing.
Not
they wanted
not
to
the
know-
first time my wife has danced for money.
Sweets wants to know who Justin Shy is. You want to give him a moment to say who that is?
No, I really don't. You just got to, it's a little mystery.
Okay, Hobo Rob Prospecting is a member for 14 months on YouTube.
Thank you, Prospector.
Dvorak, $20. Love you all in Bottom of the Glass Nation to the Whiskey Fun.
That's because she loves me.
Diabolito says the Goonies Mexican. Ah ha 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 ha. That's what she said. He said, so how do the General and Iceman know one another?
That was, you know what? We run into trouble. If I stopped him and said, when did we first meet? We can't remember.
I said it was when he brought his Bronco into your shop, your auto shop. That was the first time you guys met.
You might be right on that. Yeah.
And then you guys just struck up a friendship.
We hit it off, as they say.
Jeremy Underhill, $10. Congratulations, Addie. Great speech, he said. It was really
It really
amazing.
was good.
Danny H for $5 put a quote for her. The sky is the expectation, but not the limit. He thought that was a very powerful thing. Christina Dvorak gave $100. Congratulations, Addie. You go, girl. So happy for you. We'll make sure Addie gets this money, you guys. Diabolito on Facebook says the General has the best beard.
Thank you. Without a doubt. Voting's now closed.
So I will save Iceman's questions for when he returns.
Yeah, if he returns.
If they return, yes. That's it for the sheets. I've got nothing else right now.
Well, what am I supposed to do? I am not a trained broadcast professional. If I don't have cheat notes and pictures and charts and graphs, whatever shall I
Look at these
do?
blank mics.
What's that?
The blank mics.
I know.
Nobody there.
There's nobody there. These are just, oh, here they come.
Right here.
I swear to God, if you went in there and pissed on my rug. So, how'd it go? The old man said, take any rug in the house.
Hold each other's hands.
Oh,
Did you?
cute.
Yeah. That's as much as I want to know.
They already gave questions for Iceman already.
Ice got some questions coming.
Directly to you, man.
By the way, they had a little beard competition. Who had the nicest beard? I won.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, that's how it happened.
Come on now.
It all happened at the time you left.
Oh.
All right, so give Iceman his questions.
How did her speech go?
It was great.
was
It was
lovely.
really, yeah.
Lovely.
Short, solid,
Tug
good
on the
stuff.
heartstrings.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was,
Very
she
good.
did a good job.
Excellent.
Montana Mama
Yeah.
wants to know, Iceman, do you get the joy of putting toilet paper on the streets to help patch up cracks and such? My brother-in-law did that.
No,
LOL.
I don't do that personally, no.
He used to, and he also used to do it. Before that, he was trained in toilet paper crack sealing, as he used to do it on well pipes. He used to do lower the cameras in there to make sure the well pipes and patch them up with toilet paper.
I would,
See, Justin Shy,
something.
more stuff you don't know.
something like that.
You didn't know about that part of his life.
Johnny McCall on Facebook, question for Iceman. Does frozen temperature affect the strength of concrete? For example, if it's cold outside, would the concrete not get to 100% mark? Or would it just take longer to cure?
So if you're pouring concrete in why is this interesting to anyone? If
wants to know.
if you're pouring concrete in frozen conditions, they entrain air. There's a fluid mixture that actually impregnates air into the material, and it allows for expansion of the crystallized cementated components to able to breathe without shattering the concrete.
Wow.
So it's able to go through a cure process without having to compromise the structural integrity. And yes, it'll get to 100%. It'll get beyond 100%. It'll be fine.
How do you get something beyond 100%? What the fuck does that mean?
Well, so it's if it's designed to have a strength of 4,500 psi per square inch.
Yeah.
Well, this concrete's strong enough to withstand 5,600 psi. So that's how you get beyond 100% design.
No, that just means that you calculated it wrong. That 100% is what its strength actually comes out to. Then you're done counting.
Often they design the concrete to be over strength. So, and what it essentially means is it has additional cement in it. So cement is a component of concrete. Concrete is not a component of cement. When people say, like I fell on the cement, no, you fell on the concrete. The cement is a component of concrete. So
then you fucking fell on the cement too?
No, there's cement there that you fell on, but there's also sand and rock.
Guess what? If I fall on the cement, I can also say I fell on Earth.
You could also
because I hit planet Earth too.
Right, but
there's lots of things I'm hitting there. North America.
The product that is sold is concrete, and it contains. You can simply say I fell on sand too, or I fell on tiny little stones that are embedded in the concrete.
So what if I just buy a bag of cement?
You can make a 100% cement.
Concrete. You almost said concrete. You can make 100% cement concrete
product that is only cement powder.
The old Ridge Route's kind of yellowish concrete. What's in that?
It's the stone. It's the stone that discolors it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, or the sand particles. I mean, all cement is going to be grayish, but because cement powder is crushed limestone. It's got some salts in it, various things.
Yeah.
So it's what the parent material was, whatever color, whatever appearance the parent material had. So if the parent material that made the cement, it might have a yellow hue to it, I suppose, but they can also dye the concrete.
Well, that Ridge Route that went from
how fascinating is this?
Los Angeles, 1915, I think, when they did it. From Los Angeles over to the town of Grapevine out into the San Joaquin Valley. This was the bridge between San Francisco, Sacramento, and L.A. L.A. was very isolated.
Yeah.
That fucking thing's yellow. I mean, there's parts of it that you look and go, shit, that's been in the sun a long time.
A long time. It's been discolored. Yeah, it's out in the deserts going past Ballarat all the way up to Scotty's Castle. There's green asphalt. There's red asphalt because the oil they use has a higher temperature tolerance. To be out there in the blazing 118, 125 degree, atmosphere, your typical blacktop asphalt would accept so much energy from the sun.
Yeah.
So they have to use special oils in place of asphalt oils in order to make a road that's not going to melt away as you drive over it.
I lived in Vegas for 2 years working at car dealerships, brand new car dealerships, and I don't know if you guys know this, but it gets hot in Las Vegas from time to time.
Sure.
There's a certain period of months that tend to be hotter than the others.
As much as many.
Yeah. And it got so hot one year, and it wasn't probably breaking any records, but it was way up there, like over 110. And as we would drive these cars across the lot, it would leave tracks in the asphalt. The asphalt remelted, and it would leave tracks in it.
Yeah.
And then if you got out of the car, like pull it into the shop where the temperature's a little cooler, and you open up that door, and a big gulp of cold air goes in the car, and you slam the door, you blow out the back window.
So you ever heard the term non-Newtonian fluid?
Yeah, I was just talking using that terminology today, as a matter of fact.
Oh, all right. Well, non-Newtonian fluid is something that it is a moldable fluid, but when you impact it with a slap, it solidifies. So all the molecular structure of it turns upon that moment of energy being exerted upon it, everything crystallizes, and then it goes into a fluid again. So asphalt is what they call an amorphous fluid. It has its own shape, sure, as you roll it, as you sit there and pave over, and smooth it out with a roller and all that crap. But it can melt. It can deform because it isn't cementatious.
Yeah.
It's held together like a Jell-O.
That is exactly the description I would use for my wife's ass.
Oh my God.
It's very fluid until you slap it, and then it tightens up.
It tightens up
Every time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to the mind.
All right, get back to the mind.
Everybody wants to go back to the mind.
I think we should stop and drink to that right there. Should we not?
Way to embarrass her, if that's all right.
So, I have a question.
Yeah.
That people might be asking.
Okay.
What are some of the? You said that there's a curse with the mine.
Yes.
Did you state that there was an Indian burial ground near it?
Yes.
Like that thing. Do you know of any stories or things that have happened to people as they've gone back? People are interested. Some of those.
There was a path that went across the Indian burial ground that you can go down by where the river used to run. And in the big flat rock down there, it's like a pestle and mortar situation where they had hollowed out part of those rocks to do stuff down by the river, up 6 feet high. But you could see, and they were not natural; they were man-made.
Yeah.
And I would assume they were those type of things for doing wheat or whatever they ground up.
Acorns,
yeah, whatever. And so that's Indian area. Then you can actually dig into certain places, and you find. I think where they must have lived, because there's pieces of things that I don't know what they are, but then there is an Indian burial ground off to one side, and it's the meadow. We called it the meadow. There was a path that went through the meadow, and so anytime that I took somebody that far back, which was halfway to the mine, didn't show them the mine, I would tell them, stay on the fucking path. Don't walk on the burial ground. The path goes through it. Stay on the path. That's all I'm telling you. And every time someone would step off the path, dick around, fuck around. One guy even took a shovel and started digging until I tackled him, about fucking broke his arm. I said, don't do that. That guy, the first guy that did that, we got back into the canyon up there. He fell off of the side of the cliff and barely caught himself from going over the edge, but catching himself, he caught himself by stopping on a sharp rock that cut all the way to the bone on his hand. And I remember at the very moment that he stopped himself and we pulled him up, you're thinking, how do you wrap it? How do you stop the bleeding? How do we get him out of here? Do we call a helicopter? All I did was go, I told you not to walk on the fucking burial ground. I warned you. The first time I walked on it, which was an accident, I jumped across a ledge to Rattlesnake Falls because I didn't want to walk around. I thought I can make it across this little chasm because it's pretty far down. And Bill had always said, no, just walk up to the deal, walk down, then walk back to where you are. It takes like 30 minutes, but just do it. I'm like, fuck that, 19, I'm going to fucking jump. Mm-hmm. And I jumped and I made it. But when you jump and you land on a rock ledge, your knees bend. I mean, you just, boom, you come down, right? Well, imagine if you jumped towards that rock ledge and the rock was like this, but you landed too close to this part. So your toes actually touch this part here, and your knees have to bend because of the weight. You smack them right into that rock. I mean, sure. And I did. I landed way too close to it, and I went smack. First thing I thought of was on the burial ground. Shouldn't have done it. The other time that the guy dug on the burial ground was the time that the rock fell on me. Mm-hmm. We were on our way out, and I was climbing up this embankment. And had one of my daughters was there. My oldest daughter was there with me, and I had pushed her up this embankment to get up on this ledge, and I was climbing up, and I grabbed the end of a rock to pull myself up. and it just came out of the embankment, and it was about the size. It ended up being the size of a fucking Volkswagen. It was like standing on end. I had no idea it was that big. And I remember the look in her eyes because I fell back, and she was like screaming, and this rock just comes down right on top of me, but it squished my leg into the mud and kept rolling. I just was very fortunate. But those things have happened. There was a guy who knew where the mine was. He had the right coordinates, had the stuff, and he couldn't get back. That's one of the big problems. It's a very difficult place to get to. You can get to it, but it's very difficult. And it was hidden probably up until the 2000s. Somebody finally figured out how to get in there. Now there's kind of like
Somebody other than you.
Yeah, somebody other than me, trails to get in there. But up until that time, I didn't worry about it because no one was ever going to figure out how to get there.
So this Lost Padres mine that you guys are talking about is in California.
Yes.
Correct. Why is it such? Why are people wanting to find it? What's the big?
Because it's the biggest gold mine, supposedly the biggest gold mine of all the Spanish gold mines ever.
If you could put it back into production, you'd be very wealthy.
Yeah.
Why, with all the technology that we have now, why can't it be found?
It could very well be found.
It could be now. It could be if you know where to point your LiDAR and stuff.
Does the government want to give you a license, a permit on a lease to actually function the mine?
Right.
The getting in and out of there is so sketchy that it's a public hazard.
I mean, it would cost you an enormous amount if you could even get the rights.
Yeah, it's within the confines of a state park.
Yep.
So it's like you're
technically it's still part of that preserve for the condors. They never lifted the preserve.
So it's like it's illegal as hell to go in there and just try to get the gold. So
one of the things was, go ahead.
So is it protected? Is it on protected land? Like,
Not really. I mean, you can walk in
why
there.
doesn't the government go do it? They don't know where it is.
Golly, maybe I should call up Trump and tell him where it is.
I'm just saying, they don't know where it is. They don't know.
No, I guarantee they don't know where it is.
the government isn't allowed to operate businesses. They have to contract out work.
Okay.
So like if they really wanted the wealth, they could simply offer contracts for whatever mining Rio Tinto or someone
Yeah, some mining company
to
go
come
do
in and do the work. But I mean, you'd have to cut roads. You'd have to develop infrastructure.
The EPA, even in its weakest state, would never let you go in there and cut the infrastructure in that you need to get to do it. No, they wouldn't do it.
And you need tons of water. You need likely mercury.
Yeah.
You need all kinds of stuff.
It would just be
It'd be a gigantic
unreal to do it. It's plus the reason some of the Indians don't the reason that the Indians would like to go in there and help us do this, because I had a talk with the tribal leaders at Windwolves and about this, and they kind of shut me down on the idea. I was like, well, the Spanish, the priests and everybody, they fucking put your people in there and buried them. Why don't we go dig them out, give them a proper burial, and tell the Spaniards, hey, fuck you, guess what the hell? Go back to the Catholic Church and tell them you owe us a lot of money, you assholes. Yeah. But by this time, when I was bringing this idea up, because they would have funded the whole thing, and they would have secured the land. The Indians, the Native Americans, could have come in there, gone to the government, secured the land. So this is a burial site. We want our people out of there. We're going to go in there, and they would have let them do it. And it wouldn't have disrupted much of anything.
Yep.
But by this time, when I went and sat with them, they're like, well, yeah, we know the Spanish priests were a bunch of assholes, Catholic Church was, but we've kind of already caught them in enough cases. They've already admitted to it. So they're not going to really, this isn't going to be some gotcha moment because we've already done this, you know? And I'm like, fuck, well, you sure?
So if under speculation, if you two were to find it, what do you, and you opened up, I'm going to say open up a mine, you'd be opening it up, right?
Yeah,
what do you think would be inside of it? What do you think you'd find inside that mine?
Tons of bones.
Lots of skeletons.
A lot of the, whatever hand equipment they were using.
Yeah.
At the time, a lot of
what era, what period of time are we talking?
The mine would have been operating for a couple hundred years.
Couple hundred years.
Yeah, it was a producer for the Spanish government.
But I would say I would say closing in the 1790s.
Well, because we have a discrepancy between your opinion about when it all went down, and what my knowledge about when it all went down.
Do you see that? We have a discrepancy between my opinion and his knowledge. Okay, all right. So this is why you're not allowed over for Christmas dinner.
The Mexican Revolution was, I mean, well after any time Spanish conquistadors and friars were coming here and evangelizing to the Native Americans.
Yeah,
You're
they'd
talking
already-
like
that's already been established.
140 years later.
They were still doing it.
No, they weren't.
What are you talking about? What, the
weren't.
Catholic Church didn't need any new recruits for that 100 years?
No, these are completely different eras. You're talking like Columbus and Vasco da Gama and Cabeza de Vaca.
You're the one
that
who
are
said the
coming
mine
in.
was going for 300 years.
I'm simply saying that the mine, I believe, was collapsed at least a century before you're saying the mine was collapsed. That's
Not
all
a
I'm-
chance.
that's all I'm
Nah,
saying.
there's people up there.
What do you believe the time frame is? Give it do you know what years? Are we talking?
I'm talking. So Tecoya died in. Oh fuck! No, I don't fucking remember.
I'm sorry.
Tecoya.
Not beer?
It's all right. Well, yeah, do I want another beer?
Yeah, beer will help
Yeah.
it. Beer.
So all right. So Sam Bishop, who Bishop, California is named after,
Right.
was present. George Homer Bodfish was present at Tecoya's funeral. These guys, the three of them are really crucial to the time frame.
Okay.
So Tecoya, so 1860s, we're talking the Union troops.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Because we had forts out there by then.
the American Civil War era,
Yep.
Fort Tejon.
Right.
So Union troops were a thing. That we're talking the American Civil War moments, 1860s, right?
Okay.
So if Tecoya was dying in the era, say, I don't know, 1870 something, and he's remembering being told this information from his childhood, and we assume him to be 80 or 90 years old at his time of his death.
Indians
now,
don't live that long. Nice try.
Now we're talking late 1700s, so late 18th century.
Okay.
So that's well before the Spanish. That's well before the
I
Mexican
said late
Revolution.
1700s. Is what I just said.
That's well before the Mexican Revolution, where they broke their independence from Spain.
Well,
Okay.
okay, so you're saying Tecoya saw the mine working.
Tecoya did not see the mine working.
That's what I'm saying.
Tecoya was told by his elders about the mine ever having been.
We haven't had one disagreement yet. What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh my God.
Okay, you know what?
So
the truth. Hold on. The truth. Ice. The truth is at the bottom of these.
No, where the discrepancy is that you're saying the mine was collapsed because the Mexican Revolution, they were trying to protect the mine from the Mexican Revolution. I'm saying the mine was collapsed because of an Indian war was impending. And because the Mojave and Tehachapi didn't want the Chumash associating themselves with the white men any longer. And because the more powerful the white men were becoming, the more they were going to lose
Do you
Indian
realize what you
territory.
just said?
Yeah.
These Indians don't want those Indians associating with white men. Fuck it, blow up a mine.
They tell so.
What the fuck does that mean? Just you get
so the
pissed
Chu-
and just run off and just
so
kill
the
things?
Chumash are telling the Spanish, not any Mexican, but
Right.
the Spanish,
Right.
Spaniards,
Yeah.
saying, look, they're warpathing. They're going to come take us down. We need to get the hell out of here. We can't outnumber them. We're outnumbered by the sheer mass.
Right, I got you.
between the Tehachapi and the Mojave.
Right.
We need to collapse this mine and get the fuck out. We're in danger zone right now because they're high and isolated.
And the Spanish
up in
said,
the
okay,
mountains.
we're
and
leaving
the Spanish
too?
said, great idea. We need to split.
No fucking way.
Yeah,
Spanish would have
dude.
gone, bring those
That's what
fucking Indians
Tecoya-
on.
That's what Tecoya had said. Tecoya said that the Mojave and Tehachapi were on the warpath to come kick their asses because they were associating with the white men.
Okay, well, all I know is the truth to this whole story is at the bottom of the glass. And I don't want to drink this whiskey. I am opposed. But I will do it to find the truth for you folks.
There it is.
The truth is at the bottom of the glass, and I'm going to go looking right now.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Let me go see if there's anything in the sheets while we take a breath. Johnny McCall on Facebook says, thanks, Iceman. Good to know down here in Tasmania.
Ooh.
That was about the cold, with the cold in the cement. That was the
So,
person that asked.
just a stupid, nerdy piece of my personal history. My Bodfish home, George Homer Bodfish, his brother died in Perth, Australia, going on a gold adventure. George Homer Bodfish was searching for gold up in Bodfish, California. It was named after him. And so I've always wanted to go to, I would love to see Perth, Australia, and maybe we can make it by Tasmania and check out.
You never know.
That'd be fun.
Check out the frozen concrete.
Check out the frozen concrete.
Christina Dvorak for $20 says, love Gen X Talks for the spa fund for mom. I'm not saying anything, and I'm like doing this. This is great.
She's not doing nothing but fucking up my world, and she's getting the donation. All right.
Sweet says, isn't there also a lost treasure cave in New Mexico also?
Oh, yeah.
There's just
tons everywhere.
There's tons
yeah.
and tons.
So my question is when we were determining the time frame,
Yeah.
what kind of tools were they using at that time? You know, I have a very, what's happening now kind of what tools they
weren't using iron ore carts that went
So what kind of
None of
tools
those.
was it as primitive as rocks?
It's primitive. They had rock drills. They would be able to pound, and with a rotating motion in order to break the rock. They would set fires. The fires would weaken the stone.
Yeah.
Wow.
And be able to, they had gunpowder for their muskets and stuff. They may have been blasting with it, but not quite
But not a
TNT.
big blast.
Oh,
It's not like
I remember the
TNT.
story I was going to tell.
But yeah.
Okay, but wait a minute. Let me finish my
Sandstone
so how
cave.
Were they hauling it? Well, how were they hauling the gold out? How were they hauling?
Now, see, that's the part that I'm the only person on the planet. I have a speculation on this.
Ooh.
And if you look, see the Google, now that they got satellites and
Yeah.
shit, and you can get down low and kind of look at things at an assumed, a projected 3D angle. And I've always thought this one area where I sneak across that little path that nobody knows about, I've always thought below that, from Bitch Hill down to lava flow,
Yeah.
I thought there was a natural progression, like where
I remember
there-
you telling me
yeah,
this.
there could have been dirt abutment and then little bridge,
Yeah.
little tiny 6 feet.
Yeah.
And then dirt and 6 feet. Like you could have had a path or a rail car if
Yeah.
it was that late, or just a path for carts to come down and horses. You could. And I've always suspected that if we ever had LiDAR
Yeah.
to go just below that, down in the little canyon right there, we would find all that lumber
Yeah.
and anything that they built that with that's still there would all be laying in piles down there, because it just looks to me like, God, that would be so easy. If you got a big mind, you're going to do it. Spend the time, finish cutting this, patch these little holes in the cliff where there's stuff, gaps, and put little bridges there all the way across this one section. And oh my God, it would be easy to get in and out.
So my best theory that I could ever generate is that we're talking Spaniards that had come out of Spain down around the Strait of Magellan back up the western South and North American continents.
That's a long trip in
There's some
itself.
serious seamanship going on here, serious navigators, men that know their sails and rigging. I think they were just using flying carts. I think they just had hoists.
Could have.
Where they were just using...
Oh, yeah.
It was going from trestle to trestle.
Could have.
Moving carts, achieving gravity, moving
Why
the
not?
stuff down their whole
Because
entire out of the world.
a loaded one coming down
Would be
could
zipping.
throw the other ones back up, the empty ones
It'd be
back up.
Zipping.
Yeah.
So it'd be awesome to get in there and actually do some archaeological research and find out if there were any foundations for trestle bridges, for support staffs,
Anything, yeah.
anything.
Yep.
Because
Never thought of that. That'd be
there.
totally believable. Wouldn't even disagree with that at all.
Yeah.
So the sandstone cave, Justin Shy, I was telling you that he dug out, that Bill and his friend Jim dug out. They found it's not a tunnel or a passage. It's about this big, and as they're digging this stuff out, this just falls away in a perfect cut oval into the sandstone. Like you got to dig it out. The sandstone you could dig out, but you had to carve it. They're moving dirt away, just to move dirt away from the sandstone because it's a natural cave formation. And they found we'll just dig out all the dirt, which was easy. But as they're doing this hole opens up and there's filled with dirt. So they keep pulling the dirt out, and the dirt comes out, and the dirt comes out, and the dirt comes out. And finally, it goes back, like you can crawl in this thing for a person. It goes back about 20 feet and opens into a room. And they couldn't see in there. They didn't have flashlights. And of course, they're smoking weed. They're drinking whiskey. They're not thinking clearly. And what does Wild Bill do? He's like, I want to know what's in that fucking room. No, wait and go get a fucking flashlight like everybody else. No, he makes himself a torch and goes back in there and puts it in that room and catches some stuff on fire. This is a big open chamber, and my dad's friend has someone who's still alive. I'm not going to give you his name. I don't want everybody calling him. And he came down here. He was my dad's age. And he sat with me. He said, "Yeah, when your dad put that in there, it burned for a week. Smoke came out of that for a fucking week as it smoldered." And this guy. All he did after him, even after him, my dad went their separate ways. This guy, all he did was treasure hunt in California, dig for gold, pan for gold, mine for gold. His entire life, he's never had a real job. It's all he's done, and he's in his 70s now, still doing it. And this is his gig, and he is convinced. He says what this was a cache of weapons, and I'm like, okay. I said that's bullshit. why would there be weapons way back in here in some makeshift room in the middle of nowhere? And he goes, but it wasn't in the middle of nowhere back then. There were Spanish mines all over.
There probably were.
And he says he shows me this document of this written document of these dudes who were looking for the guy who was one of the lieutenant colonels or whatever running this Spanish mine, this area. He was in charge of many mines. His brother or cousin or somebody was coming to find him, and he was came up through Seattle and Portland and worked their way down until they got to this spot. And their job was to bring in men and supplies and gear and weapons. And in his own thing, he says, along the way, we stashed caches of things so we could go back and get them if we needed to. If we got ambushed, or we had a turn of bad luck, we know where we had some supplies back there. Very possible this was one of those. He talked about it. He says, well, we did down. There's no evidence of where he did it. But he says, this is what we were doing, and we're on way to see my cousin. And you look up the cousin was in charge of all the mines in this area. So he was on his way to that spot. And then I said, so I told my dad's friend, I said, so I know where this is. And he goes, yeah, but the first 10 feet all collapsed. You can only go back about 6 or 8 feet now. I said, I know, I've been there. I said, but if I dig straight back, eventually I'm going to get into that room. He goes, yeah. He says, but I said, if it's true, what would I find? He goes, melted iron.
Metal. Yeah.
Melted metal.
Yeah.
And I said, what could that do him any good? He goes, you get me one piece of that metal, and there are machines now that'll tell you exactly where it was made. And if it was Spanish metal made in Spain, they'll tell you where it was made, where the ore came from in Spain.
Where the metal was mined.
They can tell they can tell you where the metal. So he goes, you get me one piece of that.
There's signatures in the microscopic components.
And the machines now, he goes, you get me one piece of it's all I need. And he goes, I know people that'll do this for me for nothing.
Yeah.
And they'll give you the full report and say that piece of metal was extracted from this mine in this corner of Spain in this year.
Yep.
And then we can start tracking, where weapons and tools and things, because a lot of them they just made here. Mm-hmm. He goes, but some of them came across, especially if they were weapons, they were all made over there and brought over here.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things I still could go do if I can get my fat ass back there and just go dig right there. I'm staring at it.
I still think though that your father putting the torch into that room, I still think the primary
is this your batshit story?
I think the fuel in there was bat guano, dude.
Bat guano is batshit.
There's no fucking way that just holding a torch to a gun stock is going to ignite an inferno.
What if there was gunpowder in there?
Nah.
They stored the gunpowder in there.
They would store those in casks that were 2 feet long and
okay. Then how did the bats get in and out?
The bats fly in and out.
Where? They had to dig out the hole.
I'm simply saying that I just don't. Was there a kaboom when he put the torch in?
No, I don't think so.
It just caught fire.
Yeah.
I think there was piles and piles of bat guano after all the centuries of activity.
All right. I think you may be right. Maybe what they did was they left that open, that secret opening to get into that room. After they left.
I just can't see.
I got you.
I just can't see the gun stocks catching fire.
Okay, so there was bat shit in there along with all the shit.
I'm trying. Yeah, you have to put these pieces together.
I don't have to. I just want to go back there and see if there's melted metal.
You got to make
bat shit can become flammable.
Oh yeah, guano. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Guanos. Yeah. Well, they use like buffalo chips and horse manure for fuel.
So this is in. Yeah. I mean, this is within a mile of this area. Where all this stuff is in there. I've got pictures. We have, Ice and I have, along with LP Jimmy, got stacks of stuff on this. I got file cabinets full. But when my dad went back there, when he finally found that canyon, there had clearly been someone back there, I think in the 1800s, because some of it looked like had been different types of mining in certain areas. Mm-hmm. But there was a pickaxe stuck in a tree.
Right. That's a cool picture, man.
Pointing up way up this tree.
It's a cool picture.
I mean, there's no way my dad or anybody could have done it. So when my dad and his two friends that went in there, when they saw that, they took a picture, holy shit. And this pickaxe in this tree is pointing right to where the mines are.
It's cool.
Like it's one of the clues. Wow. Pretty fucking badass, man.
Yeah.
And then that when that one piece of iron was found, that shaped
the
tool
artifact.
that we didn't know what it was, the
Yeah.
artifact. Yeah. We couldn't figure out forever what it was.
Yeah.
And so he brings it here. He left it at my house for like, I don't know, probably almost a year. And I took pictures and measurements and I sent it through the internet because I'm the internet guy by this time. And his friend was still old and like, yeah, I don't know how to contact these people. I sent this file folder of stuff to all of these guys all over the country. I found out which they weren't just geologists; they were historians on old Spanish mines and mining in general, all the way back to the time, like you said, time of Columbus. Anything from Columbus on, they knew about. And I said, "What is this?" I didn't give them any of my thoughts. I said, "What is this?" They came back with about, I think I sent it to like 80 or 90 professors. And I want to say 80% of those came back with the same thing of what this was, and it was a hand stamp.
Yeah.
It was a way to a way to crush.
Way to crush the ore.
Crush the ore. If you're back in a
process
canyon,
gold.
you would take this with you, and you'd set up a branch and a tree and a little lever system on a rope, and you would raise it up and drop it, and then raise it up and drop it, and you'd stamp and crush this stuff. And the way they talk about, and showed me pictures of bigger ones, and they were all kind of worn the same way this little one was. Mm-hmm. They had the same wear design because that's how you use the tool. So someone was back there, and this particular tool was not no 49er had this. No. 49ers didn't do this kind of shit at all. This was something way before.
It was industrial grade. The tool. It was industrial grade, even though it was a small scale. So imagine that they were digging in a path or blasting in a path or carving in a path within a mine shaft, and they want to take samples, and they want to extract these samples and find out out of all the mineral contents within this rock that they've removed. They want to do a small batch to find out how much percent of the contents are gold. That way they know. All right, let's hang a left. Let's start working in this direction, because there's not always a naked vein of gold to chase.
Yeah, you can't always find the sparkly.
The gold is, and like I use the term flour gold to describe what goes on out there by Ballarat. The actual particles of gold are as fine as baking flour, and so, but it's all impregnated within the rock. And so you need to pound the rock down, break it into chips, use antimony and mercury to separate the from
stuff.
the stone. Because the mercury's, once you grind it down to, once you really pulverize it, the gold is going to sink. The lighter material is going to float on top of the mercury. The mercury is denser than granite or iron. Yeah. Mercury is very dense, but the gold's denser than mercury, so it sinks down to the bottom. So, the little hand stamp, this artifact, it was the thing of, it was doing like a sample out of this rock, and it was pound, pound, pound. There was foot operated ones, there was mechanical operated ones. You would crank and bang, bang, bang.
This was like the smallest one they'd ever seen. The other ones were very big.
There are gigantic ones. Like once you're on the gold, it's like, all right, we're going to go in this direction, and then they're using the gigantic.
Truthfully, this is about as much as you could get back there. Yeah. You couldn't get anything.
No, nothing crazy machine.
No, not like that.
Unless you had the hoist, already employed.
So there's all these things that point to this direction and point to where we're at. And clear evidence of what's, things that were there that, for nobody disputes that it was Spanish gold. Nobody disputes it's Spanish mines. They question if it's the Lost Padres mine, but because they don't know where the collapsed mine is. Right. And that's where everybody gets stuck. So my dad's friend, who's in his 70s now coming, he stayed here for a weekend. And we talked and we drove down. There's two interesting things I'll tell you that happened when I take this guy. So now my dad's dead, but while Bill's gone. So now I'm kind of taking over with this old man, and we're talking about we're sharing all the stuff, because I've been up there now in the late 80s. He stopped going in the late 70s. Now I'm up there. I'm telling him all the stuff that I've done and I've seen and I've found, and we're putting pieces together. And I said, I want to tell you something that'll blow your mind. And this is where Iceman and we went down a rabbit hole for a couple of years trying to figure out Jesuit symbols. And we didn't learn anything. It's absolute just fascination about this with the Jesuits and their symbols and the rules about, you can't carve something in a tree because the tree's going to die. And you can't even do it in sandstone, going to erode. Right. It's like one of the rules that they presume would be there with Jesuits was you can't put a symbol on a map to anything that won't withstand 300 years. That's your rule of thumb. Then you can proceed in how you do things. Okay.
But it's what was it, landmarks or something?
Right.
They're landmarks for future generations, or just like if I'm going to be 40 miles deep and you're just coming off a boat and getting to me, it's like you got to know the path to find me.
Right.
Right.
And there's no GPS. There's no general store that you're going to go, hey, I'm trying to find Ted. How do I get to Ted?
Well, Ted's 3 miles to the oak tree.
Yeah,
and then
go this way. Ask Larry. Larry will know the latest dope on the guy.
And Kay wants everybody to hydrate. That's what he's saying. Ed says,
Right there.
Hydrating.
Hydrate.
A bear or...
whichever.
Yeah.
It's water.
You're drinking light beer. That's just like water.
Jeremy Underhill wants to know, what I wonder is what portion of land still has abundance of gold still there.
Tons,
do.
I was just seeing a news article that some German research outfit in Hawaii is saying that one of the volcanoes in Hawaii is more direct to the core of the earth than they ever was ever theorized, right? But it has a higher gold content also, so that the magma, the lava that ever comes out, whatever gets ejected, has a larger gold content, so they think the core of the earth has more gold than they ever theorized before.
Far out.
And we've only found like 1% of all that's ever.
Oh, there's so much. There's gold
theorized.
everywhere. Yeah.
It's gold everywhere.
So,
Hobo Rob Prospect says, I have a gold claim in Oregon, 20 acres.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And
what part of Oregon? Ask him. Are you able to?
Yeah, you can ask him. You just did.
What the heck just happened?
He just heard you.
Oh, he just heard me,
just
didn't he?
went wrong.
I heard a bong. I heard a bing bong.
Hold on. I
right.
just lost the page. Hold on. Okay, I'm here.
Okay.
I'll find out in a second. But Cricket wants to know, is Iceman a geologist?
No, I just know a lot of shit.
He's a man of many
my
parts.
son is a geologist and had worked with USGS testing for mercury in our NorCal waterways, and now does concrete testing also.
Interesting.
We're going to lose my train of thought in a minute.
I want to know about where in Oregon he's at.
Okay, well, Hobo Rob has to put it.
All right.
I drive down there with him. We're going on some of the back roads. And the one we're on in particular is the one that goes to Knapp Ranch. Remember that?
You're going to say that out loud?
Well, that's just still the general area. I mean,
whoa. He's
still pretty far.
You don't want to embarrass those Nap boys.
No. Bring a bottle of whiskey and leave it at the gate. And don't get caught off guard like I did with Jennick's mom out there. That was bad.
Yeah.
I don't normally go out in situations where I'm not ready for anything.
Yeah.
And I got caught with my pants down out there, and the 4 guys rolled up on us, and I was just with her.
Yeah.
And my guns were in the truck. I'm like, God, fuck. And I was just, that got a little tense.
Apart from...
Hold on. Hobo Rob says, my claim is on a tributary of Cow Creek.
Oh, I don't know what that's at.
Well, you can look it up.
But I mean, Eastern Oregon out there in the deserty plain area.
Not if there's a tributary.
Or are we talking like... I guess you're right. Yeah. So it must
How
be
many
out there
tributaries out there in the desert?
coast with
I would guess.
Florence and Newport, Astoria.
Maybe on the
somewhere.
Willamette somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, somewhere over there.
So
I'm just curious.
we drive out there, and as we're driving, I said, we're talking about the Jesuits. We're talking about signs and symbols and carvings and things. And I said, I'm going to have you look at something. I'm not going to tell you why you're looking at it. I'm going to drive up on this road towards the top of this mountain. We're going to get out and walk, and I'm going to look down and I'm going to point at something, and I'm just going to ask you what you see. And of course he's like, well, what am I looking for? What is it? I said, I don't want to tell you anything until we get there. So, and the reason this was odd is because this particular, it's a mound. I mean, the thing's, how tall would you say that thing is?
I don't know, 6-8 feet something.
No, that mound with all the sign symbols around it, like they walked out there, that thing was like 60 feet high.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah. No, that thing's tall.
Google,
yeah, that one,
labeled
the rock formation.
Yeah, the rock formation.
Yeah.
So Google, if you look at Google Earth, out in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of these trails and nothing, somebody labeled this thing the Lost Padres Temple.
A Google user. Google Maps didn't have it titled.
No.
Because
a Google user pinned it and labeled it, but Google picked it up and said, okay. And so when you go out there and look, if you zoom in, it comes up, oh, this is known as the Lost Padres Temple.
Yeah.
Now I'm freaking out because I'm like, what the fuck, man? Right. First of all, why would someone call it that? What is that? And there's a guy who does all this other research, and I won't mention his name, but we are adversaries. We are
PG.
We are good cop. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are good cop, bad cop. We are spy and spy versus spy.
Right.
So he catches on to this,
Yeah.
and we're talking on the phone one day, and he says, no, it's nothing. I can't figure. I called Google. I know people at Google. I want to find out the user that wrote this because that's a little too close to home. And he denies that it's where I say it
He
is.
thinks it's too on the nose. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
and then
You were talking about bringing the guy out there to look.
hold on.
Okay. I thought
So this rock formation, Google's named the Lost Padres Temple. So we go out there,
Yeah.
walk all around this thing
With Brigger.
with Briggs. Briggs is there and the dogs, and you found stuff on it, but you can't tell what it is.
Yeah.
Like there's signs on it. There's some sort of, but you can't. It's almost like you got to be back 100 yards to see what's going on in
Yeah.
this thing. And so we go back and we're talking to my nemesis about it, and he goes, no symbols, no nothing. But then I went to his website, and he had found this like a year or two before I did. And he wrote on there, all of these ancient symbols are on this, but we can't figure out what they're. I'm like, I called him and go, you motherfucker, you try to tell me something. You've had a website up for 2 years. It says on there. So he pulled the website down. I already screenshot everything. I saved it before I even called him. He's a lying asshole.
Yeah.
So I don't think Google still calls it that. But it was weird that this big rock formation kind of sitting down low amongst the hills. So this is the rock formation I'm talking about. So I drive my dad's friend way back, and I get out of the truck, and I said, okay, I'm going to tell you to look at something. And I turned around. We pointed way down. I said, there's that rock formation right there. And I said, all I want you to do is study it for a minute and tell me what you think. And he looks at it, and he turns his head like maybe he looked at it for a minute. The top of this rock formation is a miniature carved out version,
Like topographically representation, like a model.
of the place where the mine is.
Yeah.
I go, tell me that that's not the canyon. I go, there's Bitch Hill, there's Air Conditioned Point. Look at how they carved out the canyons. The 3 canyons come here. Tell me that's not someone didn't just make a miniature model of that you can see from, 15, 20 miles. And this old man is now freaking out. He's like breathing heavy. He's going, holy shit, it's almost identical. If you've been to this other one, if you stood there and looked at it from the top of the mountain, now you're looking at it again. I go, tell me that's a coincidence of nature. He goes, no fucking way.
Yeah.
He goes, no. He goes, that's somebody carved that. Now, the problem is that I've studied that thing 6 ways from Sunday. I can't find a way that would even be a symbol of where to turn. Well, when you find the miniature model, turn left and it takes you down the canyon to it. No, it doesn't. I have no idea why that would be put there. It's not close enough to reference it. It's not close enough to say, well, if you found the little model of it, you're right there. You'll be there in an hour. No, it's not. I look and go, I can't make up a way. There would still have to be 2 more clues to get you.
There is. I mean, they may have vanished by erosion or fires that have been happening the last 3 centuries there,
I guess, but I'm telling you, when this old man, when I drove him there and said, just look down there and tell me what you see, I never told him a word about it. And he caught it right away. He goes, holy shit, somebody carved out that top of that rock to look just like the place. I said, I know, but I don't know why. And it's just a weird gig. But all of these things like this keep falling into place, and it just generates more questions than answers. Mm-hmm. And not that I need a map to know where I'm going, but it's nice to have validation that something was done to do this. I mean, if that wasn't the Lost Padres mine, if this area, this sequence of mines wasn't, who the fuck would take time to carve out something like that? What for? Just for some do an elephant's head or something. Do another Sphinx. Don't carve a miniature version of that if that doesn't mean anything. Just again, it's the things that you stumble across. And I've been around that thing 100 times, didn't catch it until late in life. And I'm like, holy fucking Christ, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
And I did. There's a lot of stuff like that that's happened. So
But wait, did you think you missed it because years ago you went in a different direction?
that's true. That most of my time was going in a different direction. This is
Yeah.
coming in from the
You were
north.
never in a perspective where you were above it to look
That
down
was
on
my
it.
other thing is that you were above it looking down. You've never been that direction before.
And you were on foot, likely.
I've passed that before and missed it, and I shouldn't have.
On the ridge route, though, driving the ridge route?
No, because it's too far in. You can't see it directly from the ridge route.
I mean, you took me there. I've been there.
Yeah, but I took you way off the ridge route. We went back in.
Well, yeah, there is. You're right. There is a dirt road path to get there.
There's a fire trail that I took
But I mean,
you on.
you can drive what 300 yards to
Well,
it.
sure, you can get really close to it now, but I'm just saying, no, I hadn't driven it, but I'd been around it enough that I felt foolish for not catching it.
Yeah,
That was one of my things on it.
but
But
you weren't necessarily at a vantage point from the road. Previously, when you were a younger man,
perhaps.
you never perhaps were at a vantage point to look down.
I
on the
guess,
thing.
but I still feel silly
Well,
for
you
missing
are
it
silly.
because I'm looking at that. Well, I am silly, but it was ridiculous to look at it. But when I showed it to that guy, that was all the confirmation I needed because he's been doing that, for 50 years. I've been doing it for 20.
Do you remember the name of PG's associate?
What the fuck was that? The guy who drove up
The guy that was rather peace and lovey hippie kind
he
of.
was one of
He was one of the Nap Ranch people.
Yeah, but
not a
they're-
brother, but more like
a
a.
cousin. Two of them were
was a
brothers,
cousin?
and one was a cousin and one was a friend, kind of like the Beach Boys of Nap Ranch.
And I can't remember. Was there the brothers? Was their last name Nap or was that kind of a heritage
No, I'm
name?
just using that, but no, they were not. If you
Nap
looked
Ranch
up,
is a geographical location.
right, if you use
They
Nap,
weren't-
you're not going to find those
they weren't the
brothers.
Nap
no,
brothers.
No, they're probably the best experts on all the stories
Likely
out there.
so. Likely
for Nap,
so.
completely,
They were-
because they still have a working mine up
Yeah.
there that they operate.
They're
and
quite
guess
protective
what?
about the data.
Very protective.
They weren't going to share nothing.
Nothing. But I got close enough to see it without them there.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't allow me back in there, so I had to wait till they were gone.
Yeah.
But their mine digs towards the back of the Lost Padres area. So not surprising they're getting a bunch of gold out of it.
Yeah.
Because they're digging into the same vein
network,
probably.
yeah.
Same network, right.
Yeah.
They're not close enough to connect anything. But yeah, they're digging this from the other side, they're just digging this way. Why I don't understand why nobody understands that either but me. It's like, are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah.
How do you not see that? I see that very clearly. I'm like, well, I'm like, all right, well, fuck off then.
Yeah.
So here we are with all these quandaries and all these things and I can't even mention the stuff that guy. You go down to Bakersfield in Kern County, and the museum, the archives of the museum, had a big file folder on the Lost Padres mine that somebody stole the whole file folder.
Swiped it.
And LP Jimmy knows the old man that's got it.
Yeah.
And LP Jimmy's like, okay, man, just go in there and get it. Just take it from the guy. He can't go to the cops. He stole it. He can't tell them, I stole this from...
Someone came and stole something I stole.
Yeah, I stole this from the Historical Society, and now he stole it from me. Give it back to me, but don't give it back to them.
Let's go roust the guy.
There was a couple times he almost got me drunk enough
I
to
know,
do it. I was
I know.
like, Jimmy goes, I know where the house is. I know which room it's in. You just got to go in there and like duct tape the old guy to the chair
Embrace
and go get
embrace
it.
the guy.
Yeah, embrace the guy.
Arthur Digby Sellers.
Arthur Digby Sellers. Oh.
So, is there other topics you'd like to discuss since we've been on this for a couple hours?
Holy cow.
So where did
I didn't tell
Iceman
many of this part.
Where did Iceman tell you that we connected with the story about the mine? Did he say I got a phone call from a friend of mine one day and then tells it? How did?
No. I gave him a small history.
So like I said, we worked together.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a common thing that like he was interested in mining and history and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which I am too. I don't know half as much as he does, but he just brought it up one time. I don't remember where we were. Probably your place or
Getting drunk somewhere.
getting drunk,
Yeah.
drinking.
Yeah.
That's how it all
And-
starts.
Yeah.
It always starts.
Yeah.
But just start talking about it, and actually told me about your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So I watched not every episode. Sorry,
He
okay.
but
he
I did subscribe to your channel, and
He watched
Wow.
the one where you and I were talking about the Lost
Right.
part about
Yeah.
whatever
The Jesuit one, the
Yeah,
interviews.
everything we discussed in that episode.
Yeah.
I told him about it, and like by a week later, he was telling me I watched the whole thing.
So,
well, that's
did
embarrassing.
You grow up in the Phoenix area?
no, I'm from Washington State.
You're from Washington State?
Okay, I got one question for you then. This is a fair question when you're from Washington. What happened to DB Cooper?
So, I don't know. Like, I've been here most of my life, so all that stuff in Washington.
Dude, you said you're from Washington. What happened to DB Cooper?
I think
you have some responsibilities here, my man.
I think he got away. He's I don't know.
I think he got away with it.
Right.
But I also think that it was an inside job. I think it was the CIA trying to get money at it, trying to get cash.
What?
That because they were in so much dark intel stuff. I think it was like, all right, we're just going to hijack a plane. We're going to get money from the federal government in order to fund a new enterprise. That we're going to go trade weapons for drugs with the Sandinistas, so we can go fund the Iran-Contra. So it piles and piles and piles.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you have to put up with when you invite Iceman to the barbecue.
Do you remember?
Danny H says Iceman 100% on point about DB Cooper.
Telling you what. So you remember Freeway?
So a CIA guy jumped out of the plane?
You remember Freeway Rick down in L.A., the big crack dealer back in the 80s?
Right.
That was a CIA enterprise of we need to move cocaine. We need to get it blended and broke down to crack. We need to sell and disperse all these drugs and grab up all those dollars so we can send that money to South America to fund the Sandinistas, to beat over Noriega, to do this. This is what the government was doing. This is what our this is
Who
what
did the CIA get to jump out of the airplane?
Any fucking James Bond wannabe fucking agent. Who do you fucking think? Because there's a brother and sister that claim that their dad was DB Cooper.
Yeah.
Right. They found the parachute, in their attic and all that crap. What the fuck ever. A James Bond wannabe. Anybody can want their dad to be DB Cooper. But
James Brown.
James Brown. Happy you good. No. Stealing my money.
I gotta go. Hit me. I'm out.
Falling down.
James Bond wannabe would keep the parachute. A real James Bond would not.
Right.
Yeah. A real James Bond would ditch all evidence,
Yeah. So when I find someone who grew up in San Francisco, I'm going to be asking about Alcatraz.
I think
Cricket, we need a conspiracy story Art Bell night. This is kind of one right now.
It's kind of one right now.
Well, and this is what,
Cooper.
To be fair with you, this is what she wants when we get sponsors. She wants to do KGXT radio, but not just the music. She wants to do Art Bell stuff on the radio, take calls and talk.
That'd be fun as hell.
That'd be great.
Dude says his chute never opened. The mountain men burned his ass and took the money. That's what he said.
So some kid back in the 90s found
some cash,
fragments of $20 bills and whatnot.
Yeah, the numbers
they had
matched.
All the serial numbers because they were all consecutive or whatever.
Right.
Well, not all consecutive, but
they knew it was that. They knew it was that DB Cooper money.
Yeah, I really do. I mean, the guy. I don't know. I think it was an inside job to where it was they were committing a crime in order to get away with a bulk of money that could be, while it could be traced, it was going to end up overseas in a heartbeat anyways. So it didn't matter if it was going to be traced.
If the FBI was looking, why didn't they just walk over to the CIA and go, dude, you guys do this?
Works. Remember all the way.
Do you guys take the money?
All the way up until 9/11, it took the passing of the Patriot Act for them to have.
That's why I'm saying they'd have to walk across the street and knock on the door.
It took the Patriot Act to have data sharing between the agencies.
Right. So you'd have to walk across the street and go.
They're not going to share shit. They all take a prestige.
So you're saying that what happened is the FBI walked across the street to the CIA, said, "Hey man, did you guys do this?" And they went, "No, we didn't," and closed the door.
Yeah, said beat it. Yeah, they didn't. Prior to 9/11, prior to the Patriot Act, there was a zero practice of sharing information.
Gen X mom.
Florida man says, Iceman, that's true. There's a show on FX called Snowfall, and it's all about Freeway Rick Ross and the CIA.
Yeah.
Also, Rick has been on Rogan a few times.
I don't watch Joe Rogan, but
that's what they said.
But why do I stumble at Freeway Rick?
Yeah.
Was the whole thing was a CIA front for moving money, for getting it up.
That doesn't prove DB Cooper, though.
Dude, it's their MO. It's their MO. It's their modus operandi.
Because the DB Cooper situations happen often. It's now a method.
I'm not going to say Al Capone was part of the government. Al Capone's mafia organization was funded by the government. The government was funding his operations. It's like, dude, it's such a disappointment.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is how we discovered the Lost Padres.
I know, right? It's such a disappointment. I love my country. I love being an American. I can't believe it makes me sick every day how filthy our government's been.
She was asking about the Gen X mom a long time ago was asking about the curse. We got off on the curse
of the Indian.
And the one guy who knew where the mine was, you couldn't get to it, couldn't walk to it,
Yeah.
couldn't hike to it.
Yeah.
He was practicing parachuting.
Yeah.
So he could parachute in there, which would have been a legitimate way to
Right.
get in there.
Right.
He died. His chute didn't open on his practice run, and he died.
Yeah.
Jeremy Underhill for $2 on YouTube says, sounds plausible, CIA and all kinds of shit.
Well, let me just like case in point, and I think every citizen of this great land needs to remember that during World War II, we imprisoned 130,000 plus American citizens that happened to be of Japanese heritage.
Okay.
And
Wasn't good. Shouldn't have done it.
Roosevelt, FDR put them in prisons. They confiscated their property. They closed their businesses. They lost their homes. They were never compensated. These American citizens were good individuals.
Right.
That our government put in jail and stole and ruined their lives. And they never recovered. You had children that were ripped out of their parents' arms, thrown into camps. They couldn't have their families being held together. They had to separate them, because they did continue to educate. They did continue to house and all that kind of stuff. But these American citizens that happened to be of Japanese heritage had all of their constitutional rights ripped away from them only 80 years ago. Only 80 years ago. Our government is perfectly capable of doing some corrupt, evil, wicked shit.
Yeah,
The Japanese gentleman that lived across the street where I grew up, he was at one of those camps.
He was a survivor. Yeah.
He just died at 101 years old.
My goodness.
But he was at that one off 395.
Manzanar.
Manzanar. That's
Yeah.
where he was.
Wow.
He was about 20 years old when it happened.
My grandfather was in the Army in World War II, and he knew of two families right there in the San Fernando Valley that were friends of his that just one night they came, scooped him up, and took him away, and that was it. No questions asked.
There was an all-Japanese heritage army outfit. They might have been Marines, but they were sent to the European front. Because if they were in the Pacific front, they could be confused for spies or whatnot, or a corn-fed white boy from Nebraska would think Jap and shoot, kind of thing,
right.
and be a friendly fire situation. So they sent them to Europe, where obviously, if there's a guy with slanty eyes, was going to be an ally.
Yeah, he wasn't a German.
And those guys they had the highest casualty rates. They had the worst bloodshed. I mean, the poor guys, they bled American red, white, and blue, and our government was imprisoning their mothers, their fathers,
And that,
their
ladies and
uncles
gentlemen, is
aunts.
how we discovered the Lost Padres
I'm just
mine.
saying. So when you brought up D.B. Cooper, man, it's like, don't put it past our
asked
government.
him.
Don't put it past our government.
You're not from Washington,
I'm
man.
not from Washington.
And I
Okay.
was just asking about, so how long have you been in Arizona?
Oh shit! Since we moved down here when I was 7, so
Okay,
I didn't have a choice.
So what I'm asking is that, are you into checking out mines in Arizona? Is that some of your
All right.
The big one there is the Lost Dutchman, right? Yeah.
Lost Dutchman? Okay.
So I'm not like these guys where they're super intelligent and research everything. It's always been an interest of mine, yes, and if I had the knowledge and stuff like that, and the finances, it's something I would totally be
That's
into.
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So-
I was just wondering, like, what if you got into it over in Arizona? Because there are mines
Right,
over there
yeah.
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. There's, in
Definitely
fact, the
Arizona.
Lost Padres mine, part of its story goes to Arizona.
Right.
And that's where one of the, I don't know, his rank in the Catholic Church, I want to say bishop or somebody, was down there trying to stop the massacring and the warring with Indians and white people, and he got killed by the Indians. They're like, fuck you, and they killed him. And he was instrumental up here in sealing the records of the people and the Indians and the knowledge of that in one of the missions, the mission, I think it was in Santa Barbara. That information is still documented and hidden down there, and you can't get to it unless you're the highest ranked clergy guy in Santa Barbara and part of the Catholic Church. But I have copies of his letters that he was writing back, and then I got the last letter is one that someone wrote and said, "Hey, he died. They killed him, and you're not going to get any more letters from him." And that I've got a copy of that one too.
I'm getting some things. Can you check your phone? Do you have your phone? Check your phone to see if there's any messages on phones at all for you.
Checking. There's nothing in Telegram. And Christine Dvorak says you need to get up and move. You need to move. You can't sit anymore. It's going to be bad for you. She knows. You need to get your fat ass up and move around.
Screen, then.
I can't. There's nothing I can do with that. Where do you want me to go with it?
All right, I'll be back.
Low Torque had a message. You get a message from Low Torque?
Yeah, I did.
And congratulations on visit Family City. Thanks for checking in on me, though. He has been tied up or can't come over.
Yeah, his son, his youngest one, just graduated last night, so he's got in-laws.
Oh, I
His family
see.
there.
Okay. So maybe Low Torque could come over we got 2 more shows maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. So there you go. Anyway, do you see when you're talking to Iceman, how he gets off on these things? You're like, dude, don't be an hour. And he will give you so much detail on so many things that he'll go as long as you want, as long as you can. So there's that.
Well, that's the thing. I wish I had his knowledge. It's like, freaking.
Just do what I do. You do. It's right there. It's all in his brain. Just make sure he's around or he's a phone
pick
call
his
away.
brain?
Yeah, you don't have to know all this shit. You don't got to go read it. You don't got to study it. When you come to a situation, you go, I wonder what this guy did. Call him. Don't look it up. Just go, hey, what'd this guy do? And he'll tell you.
I'll have some insight.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know. The stuff interests me. I'm just the dummy. Like, it's cool, but I don't take it any further. I just think the Lost Dutchman mine and the mines he's talking about and stuff like that interests me.
Yeah.
But I don't take it any further. I don't read.
I'll take you there, man. I'll take you there.
He'll take you there. He'll take you there and right over the fucking cliff, man. I promise you.
Beer and listen to his stories.
Listen to my bullshit.
Normally,
Interesting.
we're not doing it tonight because we're packing up and moving. But we would sit out and have these big barbecues out here, and we'd do steaks and burgers and play music and have baseball on in the background. And then at some point we had a big fire pit out here, a built-in fire pit, and we'd sit around, tell stories. Or we used to do it up on the balcony years ago, like 10 years ago, a little portable fire pit, and we go up on the balcony and just sit around talking about shit. And that is where you start cross communicating with all the stories that begin to get tied together. Then you go do some homework and find out, wait a second. And the more people you get involved, when LP Jimmy kind of left those TV people and came over to what we were doing, and he was part of our clan, and we were hanging out and putting, we were doing stuff like that became a whole different thing.
And it became a lot more fun.
Oh yeah, completely.
He has so much knowledge to impart.
Tons. Yeah, he's done a lot of homework, which is why they brought him on board for that TV program thing, because they knew he had a lot of stuff. In fact, I suspect a lot of the questions that they asked me that night to see if I knew what I was talking about came from Jimmy.
They were generated from his mind.
I think Jimmy's like, well, if he knows these 10 questions, then we're on the right track. But when I told you that these other people had come, I've turned all of them away. There were people that would come to my place of business and they talked to me for a few minutes, and I'm like, just get the fuck out of here. I don't want to talk anymore. I'm busy working. But they would all go outside and get on their phones, and they would say the same thing. They'd call back to whoever that was in charge of them and say, we found him. This is the guy. No, this is totally the guy. This is the guy. We got to come. But I never talked to anybody any further other than Smitten Kitten, whatever her name was. What was her name?
Sweetness.
Sweetness. Sweetness. Other than Sweetness, and I wasn't talking about football player, running back for the Bears either. So it was. But I hadn't told that story in a long time. Ice was there backing me up, not letting me sign anything. Right. And
'cause if he signed a release, then whatever intellectual property he shared would become their property. It'd be like like the opposite of a non-disclosure agreement. It's a disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
You've disclosed this stuff to us. Now we get to use it.
Right.
And they use sex to try to get it.
Yeah. And sexy sweetness.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Sexy sweetness.
Alcohol
was there.
and a woman with an unbuttoned top to try to get me to.
It worked.
She was a good-looking chick.
She was.
Yep.
I did tell her where it was. I must confess.
It's in the mountains.
It is in the mountains, in the hills. And you can go look for it. Go ahead. But they did end up using my voice.
They did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We were sitting there one night. It was you. We were all sitting in my living room.
You watched it. You heard it before.
I heard it. Well, we were all sitting in my living room. We were hanging out
to show it to me.
And then you were late because we were all in the living room.
Yeah.
And we were talking. LP was there. Some other people were there. And I'm scrolling through YouTube, in the background. This wasn't really like a meeting, but we knew what. This is when Jake was around. When Jake was going out doing that exploring stuff for us, and I was watching like a 3-minute video that a promo some guy had made, kind of shittily done.
I thought it looked okay.
It was okay, but it just was like the substance wasn't there that I thought. Cool music, and all of a sudden, I'm talking. My voice is talking in the background. I went, what the fuck, man?
They trimmed his voice, and
So I rewound and I played it in 2 spots, and I go, that's me.
yeah.
So I press pause, and I'm like, hey, stop. And I shut it. I go, listen. And as soon as they heard it, they're like, that's you. As soon as he heard it, he knew where they got it from.
Yeah,
He's like,
I was there when,
Yeah.
when the voice was recorded.
right.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, that's the time they recorded you
Yeah.
at the deal. And I go, what? He goes, remember the cameras? He knew that was the time that they recorded my voice and then used it in that promo.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck, man?
Yep. Yep.
So strange things were afoot at the Circle K that day for sure. I don't know. You get those moments where I literally stood up and was like, Jesus H tap dancing Christ. That's, they used it anyway without
Yeah.
any signatures.
Do you
Fuckers.
ever talk to Jimmy anymore?
I haven't talked to him in years.
All right.
I know I think he folded up his camera shop.
I'm certain that's out of business by now. Certainly COVID, it didn't survive COVID. I know that.
And he was getting into the surviving on school portraits.
Oh, well, might as well.
But I don't know what came of it. But
He was a good dude. I liked him a lot.
I got 2 cameras from his store.
Oh, that's cool.
He had 85 old vintage cameras.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and
it was a cool
I picked
place.
up 2 of them from him. I still got them.
Yeah, he was a good dude.
He was a really good dude.
Yep.
So
Super bright.
yeah, and super nice. But
Yeah.
again, fell victim, just like Shut the Fuck Up Donnie. Woman
chick.
came in his life and everything changed.
Chicks, man.
Chicks, man. Yeah, there's your chance at it.
Right. Do the line.
Chicks, man. Chicks.
Chicks. God damn it. Now, chicks came into my life. How come my life wasn't disrupted? Was my wife just super awesome, or did I handle this relationship keeping a firm hand on the tiller? I'd like to think that I had something to do with keeping control of this situation.
Kept her in pocket, as they say on the streets.
Can I read some sheets?
Yeah, go ahead, read the
You
sheet.
guys take a breather.
All right.
Christina Dvorak for $2 wants to know who to hoe. So she didn't hear that the hoe was already chosen. Christina Dvorak, $50 for Mom's Spa Fund. Don't make her hurt any worse, General, please.
I will take a garden hose and I will full blast right on the sore areas and put the $50 in my pocket. Well, money well spent.
Jeremy Underhill for $2. Stories are just stories. Others have lots of truth.
It's very true.
So are we others?
Yeah, we're the others.
Oh, we are. Okay,
with
good.
lots of truth.
Okay.
Aaron
Whew, thanks for clearing that up.
Aaron over on Facebook. We need a Gen X John Gates collab and call it Expedition X.
Who's John Gates?
Expedition X.
Who's John Gates?
Josh Gates.
Who's Josh Gates?
I don't know.
Isn't he a podcaster?
I don't know.
I think so.
I'm out of touch, man.
You are.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Well, are you guys going to talk of something else?
Are you in between the sheets still?
That's it. I'm caught up.
I think,
Do you have any questions?
yeah, if you guys got questions, now's your time.
Questions for Iceman or anything, just put it in the comments.
Let me check the Gen X Talks phone. Hang on.
Here's your chance to interview Iceman. Find out about
Yeah.
the man, the myth, the
legend.
legend.
Who says this?
We talk about you all the time, but they're not always.
Here I am.
That's right.
This is the opportunity. If you miss it, sorry, that ship
This is
sails.
it.
The ship sails.
Sweets wants to know, how did Iceman meet Justin?
We work alongside each other. I started at a concrete company prior to him. Then he got brought on, and we both enjoy beer.
That helps.
Yeah, so
It's a plus.
it's you get around the fellas, you're talking shop at work kind of thing. So hey, let's go grab a beer. And when someone goes, hell yeah, there's like, all right, you're best friend
There's,
potential.
yeah. Do we just become best friends?
Yep. So that's how it went down.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Josh D on YouTube says Iceman's beard is definitely superior.
Far out.
No.
Far out.
I'm not allowed to let mine look like that, or I could have.
Hey, go for it, man.
She won't let
What's
me.
stopping
I
you?
won't let him.
What's-
She doesn't let it get that. No, she'll cut it in the middle of the night and go fix it. Yeah, I can't.
Can I use the P word in this context?
No, you cannot. Don't.
Fine, sissy.
Christina Dvorak just dropped another $100 spa for
Whoa, whoa.
Oh, little couples massage. All right.
Diabolito on Facebook wants to know, how did the Iceman and the General meet?
I don't know.
Do you want to tell the story or shall I?
Do you know the story?
I mean, I do, because it goes back to me printing T-shirts. Because of that fella, he had screens for your T-shirts.
Yeah.
When I bought the gear off of him, he advised me to not approach you for work, because apparently you were kind of a pain in his butt. And
Yeah, it might have been.
yeah, to where like, oh, he wants this, he wants that, multiple colors and everything. You can't decide.
Yeah, sorry for wanting multiple colors on a fucking
He
T-shirt.
wants a good deal because he orders so much. He wants to give them away to his customers, and so that he wants to like.
I do. I paid cash and I ordered a ton.
I know. But so there was the T-shirt gig was one angle,
but I don't remember our first meeting ever.
But another aspect was I during the 2008 economic crisis.
Right.
I was without sufficient work, and at that time I had a 4-year-old daughter that I had to afford money for.
Right.
And so I was doing everything I could to scratch up dough. And so I helped an uncle of mine empty a gigantic storage unit off of State Road near K Street.
Okay.
Where the Montgomery Ward and the Smart and Final is and all that shit.
Right.
A gigantic, enormous room. And so I helped him clear it out, and we had an agreed upon amount of money that he would pay me in order to clear this thing out. Monstrous amount of work, and but in there, he had a 1993 5.0 Mustang with the 302.
I remember that.
Ragtop, automatic. If it was a stick, I
And
might have kept it.
You had dreams of being Vanilla Ice.
Oh no! So I was looking for a mechanic to take the Mustang off my hands in exchange for work on my 85 Ford Bronco. And
I do remember
you
that.
said, let me ask my wife, because business decisions were always shared between the two of your minds. One of you always won. And
We always compromised,
so you said that you got
and
back
that's
to
how
me.
we
You
met.
got back to me saying,
Jay, just so you understand how my marriage works, marriage is all about compromise. One time, my wife wanted a dog. I didn't want a dog, so we compromised and we got a dog.
Yeah.
That about sums it up.
Yes.
So your wife agreed on the exchange of work, whatnot, and then that's when
I just don't remember the first conversation. I wish I did.
the first conversation, the face to face, was me driving that. I drove my Bronco. A buddy of mine drove the Mustang to your shop. Matt was looking over the Mustang with you.
That must have been, yeah.
You guys heard a tick in the motor, and it's like, oh, you're trying to hem and haw, and I was like, I don't know, this seems like a lot of work and everything. But Tasha, I guess you had shown Tasha images of what a fixed up one looks like, and Tasha was like, fuck yeah, I want this. That's badass, And then you later deduced as like, maybe this is too much power for my
Yeah.
daughter, my 16-year-old kid to be running around in. But,
Speaking of Tasha, Iceman has been around the family for so long. Every kid knows him and would ask, "Hey, how's he doing?" Every time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
They're
just
all
one of
special to me. They're all special to me.
You're like an uncle to me.
yeah, absolutely like that, without even question. I mean,
So, Kristen Hartman has is asking you something.
Yeah.
Speaking of the CIA, she
Yeah.
says, ask Iceman if he has read a book called Other Losses. It details how the Vietnam War was a cover-up for CIA's heroin smuggling operation in Laos and Cambodia.
I have not read that book. Oh my goodness. You're going to get me started, girl. Who's this?
That's Kristen Hartman. Talk
Kristen?
to Kristen Hartman.
All right. So check this out. I don't know what your political affiliations are.
There he goes. Kristen started it.
but
there we go.
don't worry, I'm good. I got pizza. I'm fine.
I've been telling people about the government outfit USAID for years. USAID is a completely corrupt. If the CIA can't do it above board, or if the CIA can't get it done in a way that
And appropriations through Congress.
get appropriations through Congress. Good way to put it. They use USAID to find the money. And so they get funding from from Congress in order to achieve this kind of thing, whatnot. So get this. All right.
Kristen, hang on. Kristen, hang on. Here.
So in Laos and Cambodia, there was in the early years of the Vietnam War, there was a military outfit called MACV-SOG. MACV-SOG was I'm not going to spell it out for you. I've been drinking, but it was a special operations unit for the CIA, international espionage, in order to cancel and prevent communism from spreading outside of China into Indonesia, Micronesia, Laos, Cambodia, all these, Vietnam, North Korea, all these. So they were doing all they could to combat keeping China from spreading communism throughout, dissipating it throughout all the Asian continent. And so MACV-SOG was there as an advisory board for the rebels that didn't want to communize, that wanted to stay some sort of other form of government, or at least village by village by village independence, instead of being crushed by communism. So USAID was used to go and do humanitarian work in these countries. Laos and Cambodia being very, very crucial. That's where MACV-SOG was operating. So a very well-favored president of our recent past that was not Donald Trump nor George W. Bush. He was.
Don't you say shit about Reagan.
He was in between.
Don't you goddamn
George W. Bush and Trump in 2016. That guy that was there for 8 years, his mother, a white woman from Kansas, she worked in Laos and Cambodia for USAID.
No.
Yeah. So what her job there was to inoculate, was to administer vaccinations to these to the villagers, whatnot, hand out mosquito nets, take population counts and what the birth rates are. So she said that was her job, was to sit there and document all this information about the local populace as a welfare check, as a way to help these poor people, because we're good Westerners. We have our white virtues and all that kind of.
I just want to go on record. If you'd shut up right now, we sound pretty fucking good.
So get this.
Just saying.
So
Kristen says, "Wow, holy cow, this is more interesting than I thought."
So
you've got her.
A part of her detail was, as she's doing these population researches, administering the vaccines and doing all the stuff and birth rates and the death rates of whatever they're dying of. She was also tracking as to whether the villagers of any given area had communist sympathies or were anti-communist. If they were communist sympathetic, in would come the bombing planes with napalm, bomb. So we were out there, the United States government, using MACV-SOG as their research outfit, using Barack Obama's mother, amongst hundreds of others, where they would go in, do bombing runs, and annihilate innocent lives.
Okay.
Whether it didn't matter that they were communist sympathetic, or this was men, women, children, people that didn't deserve to die.
Okay, I have my 8th grade history book upstairs.
Yeah.
Very clearly, I have read over and over in there that we did not do anything militarily in Laos or Cambodia.
I know.
So I'm not sure, where you're getting your misinformation from, my fine feathered friend.
Conflict.
It's the Vietnam conflict. It was not a war.
Well,
that's
why they couldn't get Bob Hope over there. Bob Hope only plays wars.
That's right. He only does wars. Yeah. So I just find it interesting that
Bob likes a big audience.
Yeah. I just find it interesting that his mother had a hand in the slaughter of innocent lives. They weren't combatants. They were just like, maybe this Chairman Mao guy is onto something. And maybe we should listen to him. Well, you feel like that? Well, let's just.
Okay, so if you don't fight them now, you're going to fight them later. That was the mantra.
That may well be the case, but we've all seen that picture of the little naked 9-year-old girl running with complete burns head to toe, and we've all wept at that, seeing such horror.
So Kristen says, General, and Iceman, Other Losses, that book, has firsthand accounts of pilots shot down that say we were involved in Laos.
Absolutely were. Absolutely
okay,
were.
Kristen, I have a book for my 8th grade history class.
Absolutely.
I will get you a copy of the book. It very clearly states that our position as Americans, we were not in Laos or Cambodia.
This is the heartbreak, and I do sit here as a happy, proud, proudly happy, happily proud American. I love my country. I really, really do. I wish we were a better outfit because we have had some really criminal crap go on within our government. We can all acknowledge that. You're right. If we didn't forestall communism at the appropriate times, then it could have increasingly got worse and worse and worse. We could be living in a vastly different lifestyle right now. But and so like one of the there's a famous.
Well, it almost sounds like you're saying the ends does justify the means.
Doesn't. It
well,
doesn't.
You almost said it.
No, because it does. It doesn't justify it. How can you fight for righteousness if you're willing to accept deviance? I mean,
because after the deviance is over, righteousness can flourish.
It's the human comedy, man. It's just the human comedy. What do you do?
Face it, Walter. There's no connection.
Face it, Walter.
There is no.
I'm a nihilist. I'm a nihilist. Okay, I'm just gonna get him chopped off the Johnson. But so there was a guy. So I don't want to demonize and criminalize and make these people make them out to be villains. But there was a very well-known name. His name is Billy Waugh. Billy Waugh was a MACVSOG member. That guy, to his dying day, into his 70s, was going out on special missions into the Middle East up through the 90s and early 2000s. He was still doing stuff on the service of our country. He loved his country. The guy was associated with MACVSOG back in Vietnam, which it according to my voice and the stories I'm telling, would make him out to be a complete demon because they're taking the lives of innocent women, men, and children that have nothing to do with the communist fight. It was just somebody's mother was checking the box saying they have somebody's mother was checking the box saying they have communist sympathies.
Well, she got the box wrong.
Let's just napalm them and ruin their lives.
So Kristen says, Iceman, my dad was Army intelligence at the end of Korea, and he said much the same.
Telling you.
Love your country, but never trust the government.
Never trust the
Wait a
government.
second. Isn't that a contradiction in terms?
I love
Army intelligence. Can you put those two together?
Well, I love my homeland. The people in charge suck ass, and it was
Dr. McDreamy has a theory right now at this moment, which I have to sit with him on because I put him off.
All right.
Oh gosh, you're going to go there?
Huh? I want to know now. If Mary's,
There we go.
No, he
I want to hear his
Dr.
take on it.
McDreamy
I got to hear his take. I knew you were going to go there.
has formulated a paper that lays out points that Donald Trump is the Antichrist.
Okay.
And on why that's probable.
Okay.
And he wants to talk about that. So that's going to be on one of our shows.
That'd be interesting. Give me a little heads up about when it's going to go down. Now, does he talk about Antichrist as being the entity that is opposing to Christ, or simply the Antichrist being one that's been foretold to come?
The one's been foretold to come
that's going to bring about the end of the
trials
world.
and tribulations, 7 years.
That's going to bring about the end of the world. So it's not necessarily the Antichrist isn't someone that's against an opposition to Christ.
No.
It's just the one that's been foretold to be
the end of time.
to be the procurator of the end of times. All right. Okay.
Wow, that was it?
Well,
That's all we got.
he said wait until, because he's waiting for me to say more. He said, let me know. That's all he said. Let me know when.
Let me know when the show goes down.
Yeah.
I'll be sure
Now, see,
to tune in.
this is the one thing that if there's really those flights from Phoenix to Reno that are cheap, then because a lot of these things we're doing, Christine Matlock, who's married to Ben Matlock,
Never lost a case.
never lost a case.
Oh.
She says there's places in Reno that will rent studio space. They got a building and they built 10 studios and they rent you by the hour and you can do all your interviews inside there.
Groovy.
And they're air conditioned and there's quiet and they're professional. Since I'm not taking this with me, so if we do, let's say I set up 3 for a weekend or something like that, 3 interviews. They could fly you up, stay the whole time, and then fly you back, and you could be in when we do all the interviews on those things.
That'd be fun.
It'd be kind of cool.
That'd be great.
Well, lots of people in the chat on YouTube especially are saying they really would like to meet you in person. And I said that you have been at a barbecue, but work schedules and stuff. and
He's
not-
also been at the Vegas meet and greet. Where were
But
you guys
I'm
then?
a gigantic bitch, and I don't turn out for these things every time. So
But I said that to him. I go, it depends on your schedule and what's happening in life, but you are always welcome. You always are.
I know
we
I'm always
invite
welcome.
you guys.
I know yeah.
So that's why I'm trying to tell people that yes, you may be there in the future. You never know.
You
Do you
never know.
think we could get him for the end of summer barbecue, the big cook-off?
Where's that going to be?
I thought we were going to have it. Oh, for the steak cook-off. I thought he was going to be a judge. We were going to ask him to be a.
We were
steak
going to be a judge. We're
Where's
doing
it going to be?
in Reno
at the Foxhole.
at the Foxhole at my
In-
brother's
in-
house.
at his bro-
Oh,
So
there's
there's
a $90 plane ticket, man. I'll be there.
there's a big gig
Yeah.
where Chef John,
Want to go?
Chef John's story, and he's coming up to cook a steak against Christine Matlock.
They
Oh,
did
who
it
is the wife
together.
of Ben Matlock?
Yeah.
Never lost a case.
Never lost a case.
Yeah, they're going head to head. So we're making an all day event, and with the cook off being we're going to live stream the grills and walk around interviewing the people. We're going to have 5 judges. Cigar Scotty said he's got to be a judge no matter what.
When's this going to be?
We think at
June or July. As soon
No.
Oh, that's kinda soon.
no,
it's
it's
later now.
yeah. We're probably pushing it back to the end of July or August.
All right. That's
It's got to be summertime, but we're not up there yet
Why does it got to be summertime?
because that's when it's comfortable to be outside and barbecue.
All right. I just
You
want-
get 5 weeks of summer in Minden.
I'm happy to leave.
Yeah, as soon as you find out the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, I mean,
So-
I'll get the time off. I'll go.
That's gonna be a fun event to be part of.
It
'cause
sounds like it.
That's gonna
Are
be a good
people
one.
coming around from all corners of the globe?
We're gonna
To,
Once we tell them, once we open up the tickets, there will be people will
ticket sales.
people will come to be part of this one because this will
well,
be fun.
they can come and meet me and tell me what a full of shit asshole I am. And,
Yeah, it's much easier to say that stuff in person
yeah.
than an email. It's more effective, you know.
It's more sincere, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I really feel the
you
pain.
get the-
when someone-
are not
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
are the warriors
I mean,
if they
out
do it
there.
in
They will touch
in
you.
front of you, you can really get the inflection.
I want it called out to my face. You know, I want to see the disappointment as they tell me how much I've crushed their expectations.
it's kind of and the veins,
yeah,
the veins popping out of the
Yeah.
forehead. It's
Even,
good
or
stuff.
the or the tears that well up. You know,
Very disappointing.
Iceman, I put so much faith and confidence in you.
Yeah.
You've led me astray. All I have to do is open my Encyclopedia Britannica. That tells me that.
or my 8th grade history book.
yeah, or the 8th grade history.
I mean,
book. It says
you
we
know-
were never involved in Laos and Cambodia.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else did you want to ask the Iceman while he's here?
Me, nothing. I don't give a shit.
Anybody else? Did you check the phone? Did anybody
I did
else
it
have
just the
some
same
comments?
stuff you've already read.
Nobody wants to hear from me.
Christina Dvorak gave another $100 for a spa for
This
both
chick's
Matthew,
loaded. Is she
both
single?
General and
She's
Mom.
my girlfriend. Leave me alone.
Jeremy Underhill, $5. Best damn bar ever, where nothing is off limits.
Just so you know, Christine Dvorak, I love her. So if you make a move on her, I'll fight you.
I like the last name. There's a very fine concert pianist and composer from years ago that Dvorak was a great,
I just think she's got a sexy voice.
great composer.
Christina Dvorak again dropped $100. She
Yeah.
goes, and more.
This chick's loaded.
Yeah, that's why she's my girlfriend.
Sheesh.
Troy Abbott on Facebook says, hey, General, you want to come to Kansas City June 16th, 17th, and 18th? I got some extra free room at the... And there's nothing else.
At the what?
I don't know.
This is a Kansas City mob thing? Because I'm in.
I mean, I hear they got good barbecue.
Christine Dvorak, she's got a sexy voice and she drops C notes. She's mine. You
Yeah,
stay away.
No
Oh,
kidding.
brother.
She's my girlfriend.
Does
kidding.
anybody have any more questions for Iceman?
Or
Just
for
drop it.
Justin Shaw.
Or Justin Shy. Now, do you guys know why his last name's Shy? Because you don't say shit. He's shy. Justin Shy.
I'm just here for the beer.
You heard the beard and the stories.
Listen, that's what I do. When,
It's a-
when
it's-
these two get together, that's all you do. Is
It's a true story. Or it's true, it's a story.
Is there anything else?
You guys, I can input more, but I don't.
You're okay. You're okay.
You just have to let these two guys.
Here's the
know,
deal.
that's all.
When we want your opinion, we'll give it to you. That's a fair way to put it.
On a silver platter, even.
That's true.
This is your
Here,
opinion.
read this back to us. And remember, sound complimentary.
Oh my gosh, no, there's no more questions.
Well, it's
Guys,
getting late. We've done this for
all right.
2.5 hours
been
now.
The East Coast people are
Yeah.
late.
And the Sun Valley Fox, he already went to bed. He's done.
What are you going to do?
Sun Valley Fox hasn't ever been part of barbecues or stuff like this with small group like this sit around the fire pit.
Yeah.
He hasn't been to some of this yet, so he's missed out.
Yeah.
You know how this goes.
Yeah.
All right. Shasta Williams says, great show tonight, folks.
I'm glad they enjoyed.
I am too. All right.
Danny H said, this has been an amazing show. So I'm trying to check the sheets one more time.
Checking the sheets one more time.
Troy Abbott said, at the Ameristar Casino in Kansas City.
Oh.
Got a free
So he's got rooms for us there. We just got to get there.
at Kansas City. That's what I hear. Tell him to email you.
No, email you. You don't put me in charge of that. I'll fuck the whole thing up. Well, how dare you? This where you say your email.
Okay, my email is email me Troy Abbott at genxmom@genxtalks.com, and I will check our schedule and see what's going on. Florida Man said this was an epic night. That's what he said tonight.
All right.
Scott Royston said great show. Scott Royston said he met you at that barbecue, a couple years ago.
Here.
Yes. He's the one that made that.
I remember being shown it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A78 Fixer says all you folks made my day today.
Good.
Florida Man wants to know, will there be more world shows and such?
Yes. World shows are coming back.
Noel said, fantastic show. Bob McKinley said, great show tonight, General. Thanks to you and Iceman. Cricket said, great conversation. So everybody's loving it.
Everybody's pleased.
All right. So everybody say goodbye and sign off in your own special way.
Bye, everyone.
As you say goodbye.
God bless America.
There you go.
Yeah, God bless America. I'm shy as hell, but thank you all for watching.
He's not going to shut up now.
Now he's going to talk. Now he's got stuff to say. All right. Listen, thank you guys for tuning in. Not sure where you're listening in from around the planet, AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps you tuned in on the Armed Service Radio Network. Remember two things in life. They're very important. Number one, wherever you go, there you are. Just look down. It's proof positive. And number two, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I'm out.
See you later.